Chapter 522, You're single now, do you have anything you'd like to explain now? I thought you were going to be true to Jiang Yanran, so I kept trying to get the two of you together. It's been such a short period of time, yet you're two-timing already. Yi Wanwan glared at him coldly. Chu Feng was stunned. No. It's not like that. How could I possibly be a two-timer? Yi Wanwan's expression remained unchanged. It's not like that. Then what's it like? Yan Ran saw you shopping with this woman with her own eyes. She even called you and you lied and said you were at home. It was obvious Chu Feng hadn't realized he was seen by Jiang Yanran. This happened 3 days ago, yet Jiang Yanran hadn't brought it up to him after she found out. When Chu Feng considered what Jiang Yanran thought of him, he was so anxious that he nearly cried. He turned to Jiang Yanran in a panic. Yanran, things aren't what you think. I don't have that kind of relationship with this woman. Looking at the way Chu Feng was sweating profusely and panicking, Jiang Yanran seemed to be a little moved, but once she saw the photo from the corner of her eye, she couldn't bring herself to believe him. The veins on Yi Wanwan's forehead protruded. Stop with your crap, why don't you tell us who this woman is? Since it's a misunderstanding, why don't you just explain yourself? Chu Feng mumbled and looked like he was in a difficult position. I can't tell you, if you're not guilty, why can't you tell us? Yi Wanwan really wanted to pry open this guy's head and see what was inside. His girlfriend's already on the verge of breaking up with him, yet he still wants to hide the truth. Chu Feng pursed his lips stubbornly. I really can't say it. Yi Wanwan nodded and pulled on Jiang Yanran. Sure, keep it to yourself then. Congratulations, you're now single. Hey Wanwanjie. Don't. Chu Feng pleaded and blocked their path. I'll tell you, alright? That woman is Han Xianyu's assistant. Chu Feng quickly blurted out. Yi Wanwan paused. Han Xianyu's assistant. Jiang Yanran froze as well. After a moment of silence, Yi Wanwan finally returned to her senses and pinched her brows like she finally realized something. No wonder she thought that girl looked very familiar. Now that Chu Feng mentioned it, she finally recalled that the girl was none other than Han Xianyu's assistant, Xiao Yang. She had seen her around the apartment building a few times. So, why would you be with Han Xianyu's assistant? Yi Wanwan asked, still confused. It can't be what I think, right? Chu Feng's charming and handsome face was like a beaten-up eggplant. I also recently found out that a senior I know is actually Han Xianyu's assistant. I knew Yan Ran always wanted Han Xianyu's limited edition autographed album, so I went to that senior for help. She agreed to help me but on the condition that I'd be her slave for a week, so I could only suck it up and be at her beck and call for the week. We'll be starting school really soon and I wanted to give the album to Yan Ran as a beginning of school gift to surprise her. I really didn't cheat on her. I'm Yan Ran's man while I'm alive and I'll be her ghost when I'm dead, how could I fall for another woman? Chu Feng came clean and told them every single thing. Chapter 523, Don't Do It Again. As for Yi Wanwan. Her face was darker than the bottom of a pot and she was so frustrated. What the hell, why would you do all this just for Han Xianyu's autographed album? Chu Feng immediately replied with conviction, it's a 3rd anniversary limited edition autographed album. There are only 1,000 copies in the whole world. You can't get it on the market. You can't buy it even if you're rich. Jiang Yanran chimed in, this is definitely quite hard to get. I just mentioned it in passing one time. I didn't think he would really go to this extent. Yi Wanwan choked so badly she couldn't get any words out. Darn it, so should I mention that I have a stockpile of those on my hands? This guy's method of abusing dogs, leaves me speechless. I thought it was some earth-shattering sorrow that he couldn't tell anyone. The teenager hung his head low. His hair was drenched from sweat and he stood there like a deserted puppy, mumbling, Yan Ran, I'm sorry, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have allowed you to misunderstand and hurt your feelings, Yi Wanwan asked, so did you get the album? Chu Feng hung his head even lower. At first, I was only 1 day away from getting it, but since I had to rush over here just now, she got a little mad and added 3 more days. Yi Wanwan sighed deeply. Don't tell me you're planning to continue being a slave. Jiang Yanran stood aside, not knowing what to say, and sighed helplessly. Don't go, I just mentioned it in passing. This person, why? Why is he so silly? But he made her feel a warmth in her heart she'd never felt before. Due to her experience with Song Zihang, she was initially very insecure in this relationship with Chu Feng. However, this man kept easing the insecurities in her heart over and over. Chu Feng was very serious. But, you like it, as long as you like it, I really want you to have it. Yi Wanwan had a headache and held her forehead in her hand. Alright, stop being all lovey-dovey right in front of me. Don't do anything for Xiaoyang anymore, I'd rather you be a slave for me than her. After Yi Wanwan said that, she took out the albums she brought from home. Is this the 3rd anniversary limited edition autographed album you were talking about? After Chu Feng saw the golden album, his eyes lit up as bright as a light bulb. Yes. That's the one. Wanwanjie. How did you get it? Don't mention me being a slave, I don't mind doing anything illegal for you. The corners of Yi Wanwan's lips twitched. No thanks. You can have it as long as you don't do anything silly anymore. She then passed the album to Jiang Yanran. Jiang Yanran opened it and realized it was actually autographed with her name on it. She was elated. Wanwan, how did you get it? Yi Wanwan explained without much thought, didn't I mention before that I'm working at Dazzling? Anyway, I got it through some connections in the industry. It suddenly dawned on Chu Feng. Oh right. I heard you started working part-time at Dazzling when summer holidays started. Wanwanjie, what do you do there? Are you also an assistant? Which artist are you assigned to? Is it a big superstar? Did you get to meet Han Xianyu? Chu Feng asked a string of questions with excitement. Jiang Yanran muttered to herself, there's only a handful of superstars at Dazzling, right? But I remember Gong Su's from Dazzling, and as for Han Xianyu, he's an artist from the head office, worldwide, so I don't think it's that easy for her to meet him. 1. Not literally abusing dogs. This refers to the way he displays his affection publicly. Chapter 524. Luckily your sister. Jiang Yanran seemed to recall something, then she turned to Yi Wanwan. Oh right, Wanwan, you said you'll be signing me in the future, you haven't forgotten about that, right? Yi Wanwan giggled. Of course I haven't. Yanran, you don't have to rush to debut now, just focus on learning the basics. By the time you graduate, I should have a footing in the entertainment industry and you can work with me then. Yi Wanwan paused, then turned to look at the girl next to her and continued, I'm signing you not so you can suffer along with me. After Jiang Yanran heard Yi Wanwan say that, her cheeks flushed furiously and she nodded resolutely. And, I'll also work hard and do my best. Chu Feng looked at his own girlfriend, then turned to Yi Wanwan and mumbled, Wanwanjie, what is it? Yi Wanwan looked at Chu Feng. Chu Feng bit his lips. Could you teach me? Teach you what? Yi Wanwan didn't understand. Teach me how to flirt with girls. Chu Feng said resentfully. Yi Wanwan was speechless. Are you sure you want to ask a sister a question like that? Chu Feng gave her side eye, then muttered softly, luckily you're a sister, otherwise, I would never dare to allow Yanran to play with you, alright? Yi Wanwan broke into a teasing smile. Of course. If I wasn't a sis, do you think you'd be able to achieve anything at all? Chu Feng was unable to refute that. If Wanwanjie was a guy, this rival would be too terrifying, huh? All in all, it was just a misunderstanding. Jiang Yanran and Chu Feng's matter was finally settled. This guy, Chu Feng, even asked me how to flirt with girls, but the person who knows how to flirt best is this guy himself. Because no matter how skilled one was at flirting, it could never beat a sincere heart. Since the misunderstanding was cleared up, Yi Wanwan didn't want to be a light bulb any longer. She told them she had something to attend to and left first. The moment she left the restaurant, her WeChat on her work phone started buzzing like crazy. Gong-su, Yi-ji, why aren't you at the office yet? Gong-su, Yi-ji, I have a shoot for a magazine cover today, aren't you coming along with me? Gong-su, Yi-ji, are you free tonight? I'll treat you to dinner. Gong-su, Yi-ji, why aren't you responding? Gong-su, it feels like I've been banished to the cold palace. 1. Don't ignore me. Yi Wanwan was speechless as she read the bombardment of WeChat messages. This was indeed Gong-su's style. She sensed it previously when she read the messages he sent to Han Xianyu. It was a sharp contrast to Luo Chen, who only sent her one message at a time and was straight to the point. He reported his schedule for the day and only bothered her with things he needed help with. Yi Wanwan replied to Luo Chen first before responding to Gong-su. Is anything the matter? You don't have very important events lately, you'll be fine with just the assistant accompanying you. Yi Wanwan just sent the reply, then Gong-su responded within seconds. First, he sent a big chunk of exclamation marks, followed by this: you actually replied to Luo Chen before me. Yi Wanwan stared at the screen filled with exclamation marks, completely dumbfounded. You're with Luo Chen now? Gong-su, I bumped into him in the lobby. Don't you avoid my question. Yi Wanwan, does it make a difference who I reply to first? Gong-su, of course there is. You must reply to me first next time. Yi Wanwan, I had a chat with my younger sister today. She said she likes men who are mature and earnest. Gong-su, Luo Chen is my senior, I think you should definitely reply to him first. Yi Wanwan. Chapter 525, I'll get it back for sure. Thump thump sounds of rock-solid punches went on non-stop. Lu Ying's bandaged hands were pounding on the punching bag like crazy. Song Jing quickly pulled him away. Captain, stop, are you insane? Stop it. You're injured. Lu Ying breathed heavily with a storm in his eyes, and he paused only for a split second before attacking the punching bag once again. Captain, don't be like that. Captain, Song Jing coaxed him for a long time to no avail. All he saw was Lu Ying's wounds tearing open again. At this moment, Song Jing caught a familiar figure walking towards them from the corners of his eyes. Miss Ruoshi. It was as if Song Jing's shining star had arrived, and he quickly pleaded for help. Miss Ruoshi, please try talking to Captain. Seeing that the person who came in was Ruoshi, Lu Ying froze. Miss Ruoshi, Qin Ruoshi walked over to the youth. I already heard what happened. She heard Yi Wanwan was attacked at the bar last night while Lu Ying, Song Jing, and the others didn't protect her well, so they were punished by Si Han today. Lu Ying's face darkened even further. Sorry, Miss Ruoshi. I let you down. Qin Ruoshi sighed and said gently, Lu Ying, Ajo merely took away your position temporarily. The captain assessment will be in a couple months' time, and if you defeat 11, you'll regain your position as the captain. So, this so-called dismissal is just for a few months, you don't have to take it to heart. Lu Ying remained silent. Ever since he started working for the master, he had never felt so attacked and insulted before so naturally, he found it hard to let it go. As for Miss Yi, Qin Ruoshi's eyes shifted. It was quite surprising, didn't know she was so skilled, even though Si Han prevented any information from being leaked. With Qin Ruoshi's position and status, obviously it wasn't difficult to find out what really happened last night. When Lu Ying heard that, he thought about how he was actually injured by Yi Wanwan, and his expression instantly turned uglier. He balled his fists up and said, that woman only has brute force and becomes stronger when she's drunk. In addition, none of us dared to attack her, so we were all injured by her. Qin Ruoshi nodded and found his story matched what she imagined. Otherwise, there was no other explanation for how that woman could beat up Lu Ying, 11, and so many others. Thus, Qin Ruoshi continued to placate Lu Ying. Anyway, don't think too much about it. Quickly pull yourself together. I believe the position of captain belongs to you alone, and you're the only one who can take on this role. Lu Ying's face finally warmed up slightly. Thank you, Miss Ruoshi. I'll get it back for sure. That's the right attitude. Qin Ruoshi smiled sweetly. I'll wait for your good news. Sure. At night, in Jean Garden, when Wan Wan returned, she saw Su Yi standing in the yard, appearing distracted. Yi Wan Wan guessed it was probably due to the incident with Lu Ying, so she strolled over. Have the punishments for Song Jing and Lu Ying been decided? Su Yi nodded and sighed. Song Jing was punished with 100 whips and Lu Ying. Su Yi paused for a moment then continued, Lu Ying was removed from his post as the head captain and 11 will take over for the time being. Yi Wan Wan was taken aback. Lu Ying was actually removed from his post. She never expected this outcome. Lu Ying's men were mostly warriors with a strong sense of integrity, and in their world, the strongest one had to be respected. Strength was of utmost importance. One had to be highly skilled in order to control them, so Lu Ying was still highly respected by his men. Lu Ying's demotion probably upset quite a number of people, so this position 11 assumed would be quite challenging for him. Chapter 526. Date. The second she entered the room, Yi Wan Wan started ranting uncontrollably at Si Yi Han. I'm back. I'm back after being stuffed with a stomach full of dog food. As expected, I'll have to pay the price sooner or later for coming up with this idea. That dumbass Chu Feng was actually trying to get a limited edition album for Yan Ran from Han Xian Yu's assistant, can you believe it? I was so worried for nothing. Yi Wan Wan exclaimed when her gaze landed on something in Si Yi Han's hands and she frowned. Why are you looking at those documents again? Si Yi Han placed the stack of contracts down. Just browsing through. Yi Wan Wan was speechless. Don't you have any hobbies other than working? She had been wanting to ask this question for a long time. Si Yi Han thought about it seriously for a while then said, hobbies? Yi Wan Wan nodded and gave many examples. That's right. Like singing, listening to music, swimming, soccer or maybe golf. There must be something you like doing other than working, right? It's a rare chance for you to openly take a break and recuperate, so why can't you do something more relaxing? Si Yi Han glanced at the girl with his bottomless eyes and replied, I don't have anything else to do. Yi Wan Wan choked and was left speechless. Her little face turned darker. Why does this guy insist on killing the conversation? Yi Wan Wan ran over angrily and grabbed his arm. Keep me company then. Let's go watch a movie. Haven't you noticed that we haven't been to the movies ever since we started dating? Not only the movies, they hadn't done most things dating couples normally did. Thinking back to her previous life, she really was quite pitiful. Although she was married to Si Yi Han, their relationship was worse than that of enemies. There was no hope of doing all those couple activities. We already went out for a meal, even though a light bulb tagged along. Let's go to the movies this time. Just the two of us. Yi Wan Wan suggested excitedly. Si Yi Han looked at her eyes sparkling with eagerness, yet he didn't say anything. Yi Wan Wan knitted her brows slightly. What is it? You don't want to? I'm afraid you'll be bored, Si Yi Han said plainly. Yi Wan Wan was stunned. Afraid I'll be bored? Afraid I'll be bored, when I'm with him? Yi Wan Wan blinked and mumbled to herself, so you actually do know you're boring. In the end, Yi Wan Wan still managed to drag Si Yi Han out the door. It was the weekend and also a peak period for going out. The cinema was jam-packed with people. Yi Wan Wan looked around and finally found an empty seat then pulled Si Yi Han over. Sit here and wait for me. I'll go get the tickets. Even when Si Yi Han was dressed like normal and casually on purpose, he still stuck out among the crowd just by sitting there. Yi Wan Wan hurriedly lined up and got the tickets. She finally got the tickets and ran back to Si Yi Han. What would you like to drink? I'll buy it. Do you want popcorn? Si Yi Han, anything. Yi Wan Wan, all right. I'll pick. Si Yi Han, N. Yi Wan Wan then skipped over to the line again to get some drinks and popcorn then went to another station to get snacks. Si Han turned to the people in the line and realized almost everyone was a guy, but Yi Wanwan was carrying a bunch of stuff and running here and there. Only then did a certain emotionless great devil finally realize that something didn't seem right. Chapter 527. So sweet Yi Wanwan then ran off like the wind towards the most crowded area. The place selling cotton candy was indeed quite popular. There was a snaking queue. Yi Wanwan joined the queue and shortly after, she was sandwiched between a bunch of men and couples. Si Han's dark eyes were fixated on her, and after some time, he slowly stood up. Yi Wanwan went up on her tiptoes to see how many people were in the queue when a shadow suddenly appeared next to her. She turned her head instinctively and realized Si Han had come over. What is it? When did you come over? Yi Wanwan asked in confusion. She assumed Si Han was looking for her for something. Si Han took the popcorn and Coke in her hands without any expression, then said, "Go there and sit." Ah. Yi Wanwan still didn't understand what Si Han meant. Si Han, I'll line up. Yi Wanwan blinked and blinked again. She was in complete disbelief. The classy, indifferent, unhumanly Si Han actually has an earthly side. Even he knew this was something a boyfriend should do. Yi Wanwan returned to her senses after a while and quickly said, "It's okay, I'll do it. You should sit down and rest. I'm not that weak." Si Han stood his ground. Yi Wanwan didn't have a choice but to hug his arm. "We'll line up together then." This time, Si Han didn't have a rebuttal. It was finally their turn and Yi Wanwan happily bought some gigantic and colorful cotton candy. Si Han looked at the huge cotton candy that was even bigger than his face. "Can we finish that?" "Sigh, and I was just thinking he has an earthly side." Yi Wanwan explained helplessly, "Don't worry, we'll definitely finish it. It's just cotton candy, it's very soft and light. It disappears the moment it enters your mouth, it only looks huge." After Yi Wanwan spoke, she took the cotton candy from the young lady who kept staring at Si Han. "You'll understand when you take a bite." Yi Wanwan placed the cotton candy in front of Si Han's mouth eagerly. Si Han frowned. It was obvious he couldn't accept such weird food. Yi Wanwan noticed Si Han wasn't moving and she couldn't wait, so she took a huge bite from the other side of the cotton candy. "Oh, so sweet." Si Han went closer to try it and indeed, it melted the moment it entered his mouth. He had never tried anything so novel before. Yi Wanwan probed eagerly, "How is it? Sweet?" Si Han stared her bright eyes. Just after they finished the cotton candy, the movie started, so the two of them got up and entered the theater. Yi Wanwan introduced the movie excitedly. "This is a film starring Chiao Kuexien, she's the Golden Globe winner for the Best Actress award this year. It's really worth a watch." Yi Wanwan suddenly remembered that the Golden Globe ceremony hadn't happened and the prize hadn't been awarded in this life yet. It was due to take place in 3 days, so she quickly said, "Cough cough cough, I heard the news internally that the winner would be Chiao Kuexien, not sure whether that's true. Anyway, I think this movie isn't bad. Phew, almost exposed myself." Chapter 528. A chance encounter. The movie showed scenes from a distant view of green hills and clear water to the bustling main street in Chang'an, instantly transporting the audience to a period of flourishing prosperity. After that, an old, interesting and secluded little courtyard was projected along with a number of water lilies dancing gently in the breeze and koi fish swimming among them. In a window, Chiao Kuexien was dressed in a white ancient costume with her eyes were lowered as she sat there quietly doing embroidery. When the first scene appeared, everyone's eyes lit up in front of the screen. For those who were accustomed to Chiao Kuexien's pretty and flirtatious image, this was the first time seeing her sweet-tempered and gentle side. One would definitely think of the phrase, "The tenderness when she looks down resembles a lotus flower shying from the cold breeze." Yi Wanwan couldn't help but cup her starry-eyed face. Aya, my goddess looks great even in these clothes, but I'm looking forward more to her character as an empress." Si Han was looking at the screen with his hand holding his head on one side. He looked sideways at his girlfriend who was completely starstruck with a woman at this moment. Yi Wanwan sat upright. All her attention was on admiring her goddess. This movie, Legend of the Quiet Girl, told the life story of a young lady who kept to herself but later became an empress. She remained single, dedicating her life to the country and gaining power. The female lead in the plot transformed from a naive and innocent 16-year-old teen to an empress in middle to old age. From beginning till end, Xiao Koexian was the only one acting this character. This level of acting was very challenging. Female artists with a similar image to Xiao Koexian mostly had to act in ugly roles in order to get any mainstream awards. They would have to act as either an educated youth from the countryside or a pitiful mother. This would then allow their acting to stand out. This time, Xiao Koexian's image in the plot was clearly unpopular with the masses. The storyline was also commercialized, and with her naturally tanned body, this movie was criticized by many. However, as a commercial film, it was obviously a success. With Xiao Koexian as the main lead and Han Xianyu's song for the closing credits, the box office sales broke several records and the song took the top spot of many great music charts. At this moment in the theaters, everyone's eyes were glued to the screen. They had a pretty good impression of the movie. Si Han's attitude was also better than Yi Wanwan imagined, and he didn't look like he was very bored. Yi Wanwan couldn't hold it in and asked, "Baby, how do you feel about this movie?" Si Han replied, "Not bad." When Yi Wanwan heard that, her eyes glistened instantly. Si Han actually said it's not bad. No wonder Xiao Koexian won an award. Yi Wanwan was about to speak when her ears pricked up. She heard someone mentioning her alternate ego name, Yi Bai. What? What the hell? Did I hear wrong? Or does someone else have the same name? Yi Wanwan looked over at the first row and saw a guy and a girl. In the dark, she could see that the two of them had masks on. Wearing a mask at the movies? Also, why do the backs of these two people look somewhat familiar? Yi Wanwan grew more suspicious and she leaned forward slightly, trying her best to eavesdrop. Yi Bai. You mean that little handsome guy who really knew how to flirt? Cough cough, yes, maybe what Yi Bai said will come true, huh? I think your film isn't bad, so what if it's a commercial movie? Who said commercial movies can't win awards? Tisk, almost everyone told me not to get my hopes up because they're worried I'll be disappointed. That little handsome guy was the first person who had so much faith in me and said I would definitely get the Best Actress award. Chapter 529, Failed Flirtation. The two of them spoke very softly, but Yi Wanwan could more or less guess what they were saying. Listening up to this point, black lines formed on her forehead. Damn. Xiao Koexian and Han Xianyu actually came to watch the movie sneakily at night and I just happened to bump into them. After figuring out their identities, Yi Wanwan quickly moved backward and hid. Damn, just my luck, actually bumping into Xiao Koexian and Han Xianyu just by coming out for a movie. What is it? Si Han noticed Yi Wanwan's frantic expression and looked at her. Don't you like the female lead? Yi Wanwan whined, yes. If I was disguised as a man, I would go up and say hello. But the problem is that I'm a girl right now. I'm dead if she finds out. She then leaned closer to Si Han and smiled as sweetly as possible. Of course, if baby won't get jealous or angry, it's fine even if I'm exposed. Si Han gave that little sly fox some side eye and replied, hide yourself well. Yi Wanwan's head drooped in an instant. Sigh. I knew it was impossible. Following that, the two of them continued watching the movie. Most of the couples watching the movie had other plans in mind. They started kissing and hugging halfway through the movie. While for Yi Wanwan and Si Han, Yi Wanwan was so serious about the movie that she almost started taking notes while Si Han kept a cold expression the whole time while his eyes were focused on the screen. They came for the movie and they were really there to watch the movie. Seated next to Yi Wanwan was a young couple hugging and getting intimate. HNG, why are their eyes glued to the screen? Is Xiao Koexian that nice to watch? No, how could Xiao Koexian possibly be nicer to watch than you? Liar. Didn't you say Xiao Kuexian's your goddess? That's not true, my goddess is obviously you, alright? How could I ever have a goddess other than you? Xiao Kuexian can't even compare to the tip of your finger. Yi Wanwan's lips twitched when she heard that. My friend, your survival skills are quite something. The girl seemed to be placated and was happy again as she pecked the guy's cheek. That's more like it. Watching this pair of lovebirds, Yi Wanwan cupped her chin with her hand and realized she seemed to have neglected Si Yihan. Should I act cute or something too? Hence, Yi Wanwan coughed lightly and turned to Si Yihan. Baby, do you think Xiao Kuexian is pretty? Si Yihan's eyes left the screen and looked at Yi Wanwan. From his expression, it looked like he thought her question to be somewhat lame, but he still responded, didn't pay much attention. Huh? Then what have you been watching? Yi Wanwan was confused. Si Yihan, although this movie is fiction, the era featured in the movie was the Song dynasty. However, there were many mistakes in terms of the costumes and props used. Yi Wanwan's acting cute scheme ended right there and then. Just as she was criticizing her own boyfriend's EQ, the young couple next to her knocked over the popcorn in their hands and the popcorn scattered all over the front row. What happened? The audience in the front row turned their heads and complained, including these two people, Xiao Kuexian and Han Xianyu. Things happened way too fast. Yi Wanwan hadn't expected it at all, so she wasn't prepared to hide. Just like that, she watched as Xiao Kuexian and Han Xianyu turned around. Shit! I'm screwed. Damn it! Just as Yi Wanwan's heart started racing, a shadow covered her. Si Yihan's icy lips landed on hers. His wide palm pushed the back of her head forward, blocking her from view. Chapter 530, High IQ to offset the low EQ. He was so close to her that she could smell his breath. His cool, thin lips enveloped hers and she was momentarily shrouded by his cold, raw breath. All this happened in 1 second. When Yi Wanwan realized she was being kissed all of a sudden, she was stunned and her eyes were wide open with shock. Her heart started racing uncontrollably. Si Yihan's eyes were open too. His forehead lightly touched hers, his warm breath and her ambiguous feelings intertwined while his eyes locked onto hers. Yi Wanwan was faced with his bottomless eyes and her heart inexplicably started to pound faster and faster as if it wanted to escape from this feeling of almost losing control. She whispered, "Oh, baby, you're so smart, so what if he doesn't have enough EQ? He can use his IQ to offset it, right?" Si Yihan stared at her for a second without speaking and leaned over once again. This time, the kiss wasn't just like a dragonfly skimming across the water. Instead, he opened her lips with his tongue and kissed her hard as if he was trying to dominate a territory. In the front row, Xiao Kuexian looked at the couple, unaffected by everything and kissing fiercely. She shrugged and didn't think much of it. As for Han Xianyu, aside from feeling somewhat awkward when he saw them, a flash of suspicion appeared subtly in his eyes. With one glance, he found that the man looked quite familiar, similar to Yi Bai's friend he met that one time. As Yi Bai's friend had a truly unique disposition, Han Xianyu felt that he couldn't be mistaken for somebody else even with just a quick glance. However, he didn't manage to see the girl next to him who was being covered. He almost misunderstood his relationship with Yi Bai previously, but now it seemed very clear what this person's sexual orientation was. However, he really wanted to know what kind of girl could make an ice-cold and distant man so passionate and behave so disinhibited in a place like the cinema, acting like other normal young couples. Obviously, no matter how curious Han Xianyu was, it wasn't nice if he kept staring at the couple being intimate. After a short while, he coughed lightly and turned around. Si Yihan's kiss continued. Yi Wanwan was forced into a corner and she felt the air in her chest depleting, her head was muddled by the lack of oxygen. Yi Wanwan noticed from the corner of her eyes that Xiao Kuexian and Han Xianyu had already turned back. Her breathing got heavy. She blinked, subtly moved backward and said, That's enough already." Si Han's light panting stopped, but his gaze never left her little face. It was almost like there were flames in his dark eyes, looking extremely menacing. Yi Wanwan blinked and swallowed nervously. Si Han lifted his arm. His long, slender fingers lightly brushed against the girl's red and swollen lips, then slid smoothly down her arm and held her little hand as their fingers intertwined. After that, he turned to her again and planted kisses on her lips. One gentle kiss after another landed on her, but this made her heart thump even harder than Si Han's strong and forceful style earlier. Yi Wanwan had to admit that although he had lousy skills, his ability to adapt was too quick. Chapter 531, Date once every week from voluntarily helping her line up to the kiss. She even condemned his skills before. Although the kiss had ended, Si Han hadn't let go of her hand. As for the rest of the movie, Yi Wanwan didn't pay much attention to it. "Oh, it actually feels like we're dating now." It wasn't easy. After the movie ended, Yi Wanwan waited until she was sure Xiao Kuxian and Han Xianyu had left before leaving the theater with Si Han. Outside the theater entrance, Su Yi was already waiting there. Su Yi glanced at his watch and turned to the entrance. Just as expected, he saw two familiar figures. When the two people came closer, Su Yi couldn't help but widen his eyes in surprise. He realized that his master was actually holding Yi Wanwan's hand voluntarily. Su Yi didn't dare to believe his eyes. If it was any other intimate act, he wouldn't be so shocked, but a test of EQ and fun such as hand-holding was a totally different issue to his master. He napped, ate a meal, caught a movie, and held her little hand. He suddenly realized his master was expressing more emotion and becoming more like a regular person. Miss Wanwan is simply too amazing. When they reached the front of the car, Su Yi finally returned to his senses and quickly opened the car door. After they got in the car, Si Han returned to his usual iciness. Yi Wanwan moved over, attempting to claim credit. "How was it? Don't you feel so much better after walking around? You're home too much, you should come out more often." Yi Wanwan gave it some thought then continued, "How about we go out at least once every week?" Si Han responded plainly, "Sure." Su Yi, who was driving, glanced at his master's calm face that didn't show any anticipation. "All right, I'll just take his word for it." At this moment, a phone started ringing. It was Yi Wanwan's. Yi Wanwan's expression changed the second she saw the caller ID. "Darn. Han Xianyu's calling. Why is he calling me at this hour? Could it be he found out we were at the movies just now?" Yi Wanwan felt extremely guilty. Si Han turned to her. "Logically speaking, no." Yi Wanwan was speechless. "May I ask where this logic came from?" Her phone rang for a long while. It'd be suspicious if she didn't pick up, so Yi Wanwan could only answer the call, lower her voice, switch to her male voice and say nervously, "Hello? Xianyu, why are you calling me at this hour? Is anything the matter?" "Nothing much, just wanted to see if you'd like to attend the Golden Orchid Awards ceremony?" Han Xianyu asked. Golden Orchid Awards ceremony?" Yi Wanwan was stunned then said, "I definitely can't make it for that. Xangi got you an entry ticket. Let's go together if you're free." Han Xianyu said. Yi Wanwan was a little shocked. She never expected that Xiao Kuxian would invite a nobody like her. This might be a little awkward, right? "It's nothing, just come along. Anyway, a ticket has already been prepared for you. When Xangia and I went to catch the movie Legend of the Quiet Girl today, we even talked about you. I commented that the movie wasn't bad and your predictions might really come true." Han Xianyu joked. Yi Wanwan coughed lightly. "It was just me spouting nonsense when I was drunk. Please apologize to Xangia on my behalf, I hope she doesn't mind." Han Xianyu laughed. "Relax, Xangia didn't mind at all." "Oh right, guess who I bumped into at the cinema?" Chapter 532, his girlfriend is too cute. When Yu Wanwan heard that question, her heart started thumping again and she asked nervously, who? That friend of yours, 9th C, Han Xianyu replied. Yu Wanwan was stunned. Han Xianyu actually recognized Si Han. Then aren't I in danger too? However, Si Han's personality was too unique, it wasn't surprising he was recognized instantly. On the other end, Han Xianyu continued, he came with his girlfriend and sat behind us. But there were many people there so I didn't say hi. From Han Xianyu's tone, he probably hadn't recognized her and she heaved a sigh of relief. What a coincidence. I saw he was quite loving towards his girlfriend and I was slapped with a face of dog shit. I couldn't believe that your friend who's always so distant and indifferent could actually be so passionate with his girlfriend. Han Xianyu exclaimed in surprise. Huh? Si Han was passionate? The corners of Yu Wanwan's lips twitched and she turned to a certain ice sculpture next to her and said seriously, that must be because his girlfriend's too cute. Han Xianyu laughed. Maybe so. As the saying goes, even heroes have a weakness for the charms of a beautiful woman. Before, I almost thought, the two of you had that kind of relationship. Yu Wanwan choked and said in a stern voice once again, you were overthinking things, we just enjoy messing around once in a while. I guess so. Han Xianyu said, then I'll talk to you again soon, see you. Let me know when you'll be back at the apartment, and I'll give you the entry tickets. Alright. Thank you and thank Xanjia for me too. Yu Wanwan stopped rejecting his offer. After she hung up, Yu Wanwan patted her chest, relieved her disguise carried her through. Thank goodness, luckily you reacted swiftly and Han Xianyu only managed to see you but not me. This was a blessing in disguise, it also got rid of the rumors of us being gay. When Si Han heard the last line, his expression revealed a slight unhappiness. It was obvious a certain someone didn't want this scandal to go away. 2 days later, 11 finished all his missions and recovered somewhat from his injuries, so Yu Wanwan officially started training under 11. She still needed to attend the Golden Orchid Award presentation tonight. In the courtyard, Si Han sat in the shade nearby, drinking milk while a white tiger laid next to him. He used to drink a cup of coffee or rich tea daily, but these weren't allowed by Yu Wanwan so he had to switch to milk. Currently, 11 stood in front of Si Han, asking for instructions. 9th Master, may I know, to what extent should Miss Wanwan's training go? Si Han placed his pink cup down lightly. In 3 months, make her body strong enough to match her skills. 11 knitted his brows slightly. 3 months? Wouldn't that be too intense? Si Han replied plainly, no. 11 could only agree to it, alright. After he received his orders, 11 waited at the nearby training ground he prepared at the last minute for Yu Wanwan. Yu Wanwan changed into a light outfit. Like before, she walked a couple of circles around Great White until she was able to sneakily touch his hair. Only after doing so would she be satisfied. After touching Great White, Yu Wanwan ran to 11 excitedly. Coach, I'm ready. What are we learning today? 11 looked at Yu Wanwan being so obedient. He silently glanced at his own broken leg and had an indescribable look on his face. Chapter 533, Can't you tell that someone couldn't bear to let her suffer? This was probably the most challenging task he'd ever undertaken. So, what should I teach her? How do I even teach her? Thinking back, why is Master giving me harder and harder tasks consecutively lately? Seeing that 11 was standing there like he had a bad headache, Yu Wanwan blinked and asked apologetically, Coach, what is it? Am I too lousy and difficult to train? 11, it's not about whether it's difficult or not anymore. 11 was on his last breath as he glanced in the direction of his master nearby. He was casually leaning in his chair, completely unaware of 11's sorrowful gaze. 11 didn't have a choice. He braced himself and asked, How about this, Miss Wanwan? From what I observed and understand, you rarely exercise normally, so why don't we start from the basics to increase your stamina? Sure. Yu Wanwan was agreeable. Then, since today's the first day, you should run 8. 11 was about to say 8 kilometers when he received a piercing glare from his master. So he changed course. You should run 5. That threatening gaze remained. 11 could only change once again, 3 kilometers. Master, you were the one who wanted me to complete this task in 3 months. Now that training's begun, you think it's too tough. 10 kilometers was simply a warm-up to him. He hadn't even said 10 kilometers and actually dropped it to 8, yet that was still. With this training regime, how can I possibly complete training in 3 months? 11's heart felt so torn. Yi Wanwan, all right. Yi Wanwan started running and 11 went into the car, slowly following her. He definitely had to be with her from beginning till end, but too bad, his leg was broken and could only resort to using a car that was similar to a buggy and needed someone else to drive. The environment around Jean Garden was clear and crisp. It was great for running. In the driver's seat, the bodyguard couldn't help but voice his opinion. Sigh, Captain, isn't 3 kilometers too short a distance? 11 revealed a look of helplessness. Can't you tell that someone couldn't bear to let her suffer? How could I make Miss Wanwan run any further? In response, the bodyguard looked speechless. Couldn't bear to? Are you kidding? With her capabilities, isn't running 3 kilometers equivalent to playing? What's there to be so torn about? In the end, before completing her first kilometer, Yi Wanwan was already on the verge of collapsing. Although she made a solemn vow to improve her skills, the process was far more difficult than she imagined. Due to not exercising for a long time, Yi Wanwan started dragging her feet as though they were as heavy as lead. She felt as though her throat had been coated by ash, causing every breath to pull at her lungs so badly that it became extremely painful. Her sore muscles that hadn't fully recovered became even sorer. She felt her entire body undergoing unbearable pain. Si Yuan sat comfortably in the garden that Yi Wanwan occasionally passed while running. Originally, Yi Wanwan was able to persevere, but once she passed by the garden and saw Si Han, a momentary weakness instantly sapped away her resolve. She glanced over at the man with a pitiful look in her eyes. Baby, can we lessen the intensity of the training? I can't run any further, it hurts. Si Han looked at her adorable yet pale face and he stood up immediately to walk over. Where does it hurt? My chest, my calves, and my ankles hurt. Yi Wanwan's manner of speech became increasingly distraught. From the side, 11 got out of the car and explained himself, Ninth Master, this is a normal circumstance from not working out for a long time. There's no need, Si Han spoke as though he hadn't heard 11, we'll end it here for today. 11. Master. My training plan is already extremely difficult to carry out. I beg you to please stop interfering with it. Chapter 534. As long as you're within my line of sight. As for the bodyguard at the back, his face was in a daze when he watched how Yi Wanwan, who had barely completed the first kilometer, acted like a spoiled girl. Not to mention 11, but even Great White, who was behind Si Han, raised its eyebrows as though it was expressing its disdain. Yi Wanwan knew she had never run a kilometer in her life, but at the moment she was merely whining, so she quickly spoke up, No, I'll keep running. At worst I'll just run slower. Si Han frowned. Yi Wanwan showed him her best puppy eyes. Baby, you get on the car too. That way, I can look at you and run with even more energy. Si Han revealed a serious look. You sure you're alright? I'm fine. I can keep going for a bit longer. For some reason, when I saw you, hearing her words, Si Han's complexion turned much gentler. With that said, Si Han got into the car as well. The car drove ahead slowly while Yi Wanwan followed along behind. The bodyguard was in a complete state of confusion as he was unable to connect the murderous devil woman from the other night to the frail sister in front of him who couldn't even complete 1 kilometer. Hey Captain, are you sure they're the same person? The bodyguard couldn't hold it in and asked 11 quietly. Right as 11 was about to speak, his gaze changed slightly. You slowed down the car. The bodyguard shook his head. No, why? 11 muttered to himself, if you didn't slow down, it means that. Miss Wanwan's picking up speed. The bodyguard, who was driving, was stunned for a moment, then he took a glance in his rearview mirror. Wow, it's true. She's catching up to my car. She overtook us. While they were conversing, Yi Wanwan ran in front of the car. Yi Wanwan yelled to the people in the car while running, don't slow down. I have to be able to see your master in front of me, otherwise, I can't run. Got it. The bodyguard looked a little flushed and quickly sped up. Wait, we absolutely didn't slow down, okay? Damn. Something's not right, why is she moving faster and faster? According to their observations, Yi Wanwan had already reached her limit, and under such circumstances, a normal person couldn't run any faster, so why was she running even faster? Could it be that that's how her body reacts when it reaches its limit? Sometimes when a person's body reached its limit, there'd be a period when their steps felt lighter, but this would only happen for a very short while, just like the radiance of a setting sun. 11 and the bodyguard had roughly the same theory in mind, but slowly, their expressions started to change. In the blink of an eye, Yi Wanwan had run 3 kilometers without stopping at all. 11 looked in the distance and was about to shout, stop, but Yi Wanwan had already sprinted far away. Ninth Master. 11 turned to Si Han to ask for instructions. In the end, his master's eyes were focused on the girl running behind the car, and he didn't seem to have any intentions of stopping her. Thus, 11 kept silent and kept watching. To Yi Wanwan's surprise, she realized she hadn't collapsed and her steps became lighter and faster. She couldn't help but look at Si Han in shock. Baby, this is really helpful. I realized that as long as you're within my line of sight, I won't feel tired at all. It's amazing. Si Han sat in the car with his forehead resting on his hand. He looked at her high-spirited little face and a subtle smile flashed across his face. 11 and a certain bodyguard who were being force-fed with dog food. Chapter 535. Sounds formidable from 1 kilometer to 3 kilometers to 5 kilometers to 10 kilometers, 11 and the bodyguard went from helpless to surprised to astonished. At the end of it, they were completely dumbstruck. 11 looked at the stopwatch in his hands and took a big gulp, then he glanced at his master. How does she even need 3 months? She just got accustomed to the 1 kilometer run, yet she's already become so vigorous and lively. This is just too twisted. Actually, he also assumed Yi Wanwan was simply stronger than ordinary people at first, but he hadn't expected her stamina would be so terrifying as well. So he really didn't have anything to teach her. Alas, while 11 was deep in thought, he met Yi Wanwan's glistening eyes. Coach 11, I'm done running. What are we learning next? 11 choked and turned to his master with a pleading gaze. Si Han looked at the girl beside him and asked, what would you like to learn? Yi Wanwan immediately said, obviously I want to learn real combat skills. Just running alone is too boring. Si Han, let 11 take you to the training grounds. Yi Wanwan nodded continuously. Great, great. Baby, you don't have to accompany me anymore. It's time for your acupuncture, so I'll head over to Dr. Sun's when I'm done with training. Si Han, N. 11, who hadn't been able to refute from beginning till the end. Training grounds, it was bright and early and the gentle breeze was comforting and satisfying, sweeping away all traces of weariness. Coach 11, I'm here. Yi Wanwan had changed into her sportswear and tied her long black hair into a ponytail, looking bold and prepared. Right, 11 looked at Yi Wanwan and nodded reluctantly. Coach 11, what are we doing today? Yi Wanwan asked eagerly. Cough, let's do this, I'll teach you some fighting techniques. After a moment's deliberation, 11 made up his mind. That night at the bar, Yi Wanwan's main advantage was her strength. If she learned some fighting techniques, her fighting skills would definitely be even better. Yi Wanwan was extremely excited. Coach 11's fighting techniques are said to be some of the best among all the bodyguards, right? Hearing that, 11 went blank. He wanted to speak but kept quiet. Before he became a bodyguard, he was very confident about his fighting skills and never feared anyone. He even challenged the captain of the bodyguards several times before. However, he was always defeated by Lu Ying without any hope of retaliation. After that, 11 realized his fighting skills and stamina were only second best. Although it had always been his dream to be the head captain, he had never been able to fulfill it. Lu Ying was like an unmoving mountain, blocking his way. Also, he was head captain now but only for a while. Soon enough, it'd be time for the head captain assessment and he would still be defeated by Lu Ying like before. This temporary status of head captain wasn't glorious at all to 11, it was like a curse, reminding and ridiculing him constantly. Coach 11. Yi Wanwan noticed 11's expression and knitted her brows. Oh, it's nothing. 11 returned to his senses and composed himself. He looked at Yi Wanwan dressed in sportswear and said, martial arts are how the Westerners call it, but in our country, we call it kung fu, a method using fists and feet or bladed weapons to strike a severe blow to your enemies. Sounds impressive, Yi Wanwan mumbled. Chapter 536, Left speechless, Miss Wanwan, this is only natural. Among all the martial arts, the most formidable one is known as the skill of death. 11 spoke seriously. Skill of death. Yi Wanwan looked at 11, eager to hear more. That's right, 11 said, the skill of death, as the name implies, is used to murder a person. Once honed to perfection, each move and form can take away a person's life. The moves are vicious and ordinary folks are unable to resist it. Yi Wanwan pondered for a moment. Then what if the skill of death meets a gun? 11 choked. I must really learn how to answer her questions. Can the skill of death block bullets? Yi Wanwan asked with complete seriousness. 11 started sweating. I guess, that's quite impossible. Is the skill of death so powerful that it can block all firearms? Yi Wanwan asked again. 11 was speechless once again. I don't think so, then why don't you just give me a gun? Yi Wanwan looked at him oddly. Cough cough. Miss Wanwan, you can't put it that way. No matter how great a gun is, it's considered an external force, but if you pick up martial arts, you can rely on yourself. You see, a gun may go off accidentally, it may be lost and the bullets may also run out, but once you master the art of kung fu, it'll help you throughout your life. Miss Wanwan, do you see the logic in this? No, I'm very careful. I won't lose a gun and will take care of it properly so it'll never go off by accident. It's true that the bullets may run out, so you should just give me more so I won't have any shortages, right? Yi Wanwan answered seriously. At that moment, 11 stared at Yi Wanwan, completely speechless. The corners of his lips twitched like he wanted to say something but nothing came out of his mouth in the end. Cough cough. 11 changed the subject. Miss Wanwan, it's getting late. Let's go to the training room to practice martial arts. Finally, 11 had no choice but to change the subject because if the conversation went on, he would lose his mind. Yi Wanwan and 11 walked side by side towards the training room. While making their way there, many bodyguards doing their morning exercises greeted 11. Good morning, Captain 11. Hey, Captain. A number of bodyguards gathered together and sneered when they saw 11, emphasizing the word, Captain. 11 knitted his brows. Tisk, why's he acting all cocky now? Does he really think he's our head captain? Jokes aside, it'll be the head captain assessment soon. I wonder how long he can occupy this post for. There's going to be a good show during the head captain's assessment this time. I heard Captain Lu Ying trains several new recruits who are pretty good, ready to fight over the post of division captain. At that point, 11 might not even be able to keep his original post as a leader and won't be able to even dream about being the head captain. Who is he to take this post anyway? But I'm really curious, 11 has been with that woman, Yi Wanwan, every day lately. Could it be that he's trying to win favor with her to keep his post as head captain? TSK, are you kidding me? The head captain assessment is an open competition and the strongest will take on the role of head captain. It doesn't rely on the opinion of a certain someone. That woman is definitely a little weird, even Captain Luing was injured by her. Could it be? 11's planning to ask her to teach him a move or two, a certain bodyguard speculated. Hearing that, the other bodyguards started laughing. That woman only has brute force, that's all. That night at the bar, if it wasn't for Master's sake, Captain Luing would have beaten her to death with a single punch. That's true. That woman has our master to back her up, after all. Captain Luing wouldn't dare to lay a finger on her. Aside from Yi Wanwan, if an ordinary person isn't allowed to retaliate, they would also be badly injured no matter how strong they were. Chapter 537, an agonizing coaching session not far off. 11 balled up his fists tightly. His face was so gloomy that it looked as if flames would sprout out of his head. The other bodyguards didn't lower their voices, so naturally, 11 heard everything. Indeed, just as those bodyguards said, he might not be able to beat Luing during the head captain tryouts this time. Luing groomed a couple pretty good new bodyguards in order to obtain the position of team leader. Maybe after the assessment, 11's old position as team leader might be snatched away and he would just become an ordinary bodyguard. Coach 11, I believe you can do it. Yi Wanwan noticed 11 didn't look too good, so she tried to encourage him. Thank you, Miss Wanwan. I'll work hard. 11 nodded. Although 11 sounded determined, his eyes were dull, it was obvious he wasn't very confident. After some time, 11 brought Yi Wanwan to the training room. Captain. A few bodyguards who were training immediately jumped up and greeted him loudly the moment they saw him. These few bodyguards were members of 11's Dark Team 1 and were very loyal towards him. Good morning, Miss Wanwan. Following that, they greeted Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan nodded. Good morning. You guys move aside first. I'll be teaching Miss Wanwan some fighting techniques today, 11 said. Hearing that, the bodyguards wiped the sweat off their curious faces with a towel and quickly sat down a distance away to observe. 11 stood in the middle of the ring. Miss Wanwan, the first step to learning martial arts isn't attacking but defending. Today, I'll start teaching you defense. I'll listen carefully to Coach 11's instructions. Yi Wanwan laughed. Alright, I'll demonstrate. We'll start by you attacking me with all your strength, 11 instructed. Okay. Yi Wanwan nodded. The second she extended her arm, 11 suddenly exclaimed, wait. Miss Wanwan, don't use all your strength first, use 60% of it. When he thought back to the strength Yi Wanwan exhibited that night at the bar, 11 felt terrified. Furthermore, his injuries weren't fully healed yet. Alright. After a moment, Yi Wanwan clenched her fist and threw a punch at 11. Pow! 11 was quick. He gripped Yi Wanwan's incoming jab in a flash. Miss Wanwan, see, 11 intercepted Yi Wanwan's attack firmly and was just about to give some pointers when Yi Wanwan flung her left fist out of instinct and hit 11 right in his face. Ayo! 11 took a few steps back and held his face. Miss Wanwan, why didn't you follow the sequence properly? 11 rubbed his own face. Skill of death, if you don't die, I won't live, so do I really have to act accordingly to the sequence? Yi Wanwan said doubtfully. Seeing that, some bodyguards burst out in laughter. Miss Wanwan's explanation did make sense and their Captain 11 had been taken advantage of. This time, I'll attack you instead, you can defend just as I did now, 11 said. Sure. Yi Wanwan understood. 11 moved forward a couple steps, lifted his right arm and attacked Yi Wanwan. 11 already lowered his strength on purpose so he wouldn't hurt Miss Wanwan. However, the second he threw this punch, Yi Wanwan slapped 11's body, probably out of instinct again. 11 was dumbfounded. Didn't we agree we'll just be practicing her defense? Why must she hit me? Miss Wanwan, didn't we agree that you'll just be defending? 11 was at a loss. Coach 11, Isn't attacking the best defense? Yi Wanwan mumbled and even gave 11 a look as if she was questioning his ability to teach. 11 didn't know what to say anymore. Ha 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 ha, the surrounding bodyguards rocked back and forth in laughter. Miss Ye's understanding of martial arts is really unique, huh? Chapter 538, Spotted his flaws. Miss Wanwan, I'll use a martial arts move to attack you this time. Try to defend and you may attack as well. 11 composed himself. At this moment, 11 had already figured out Yi Wanwan's patterns and he didn't believe he would be attacked again. This technique is called 3 rapid strikes and I'll launch 3 strikes in quick succession. Miss Wanwan, watch carefully and learn. After briefing Miss Wanwan about the details of this technique, 11 immediately made his first move. 11 was extremely swift. Yi Wanwan even heard a swishing sound. In a flash, Yi Wanwan's mind went blank. Everything around her stopped and 11's move seemed to slow down in front of her. Instinctively, Yi Wanwan threw a punch. This punch actually bypassed 11's move, it turned at a tricky angle and brutally landed on 11's head. Pow! Under all the bodyguards' dazed expressions, their captain 11 was punched in the head and was sent flying 10 steps back. After 11 got up, he widened his eyes and stared at Yi Wanwan in utter disbelief. His impression of Yi Wanwan was that she was simply stronger than ordinary people. But just now, the punch Yi Wanwan threw was extremely fast without any fanciful techniques, clean and clear-cut like she was really out to murder somebody. How is this possible? 11 was stunned. Even Yi Wanwan herself was dumbstruck, much less 11, as she looked at her own fists. During that second just now, she really didn't do anything intentionally, but it was a natural reaction from her body. Furthermore, the technique 11 presented was completely flawed in her eyes, it was no different from a child playing house. What just happened? Didn't see it clearly, it seems like Miss Wanwan sent Captain 11 flying with a punch, it's probably a fluke, it must be. The bodyguards looked at each other, confused. 11 knitted his brows tightly. He stood rooted on the ground and stared at Yi Wanwan and he also started believing it was a fluke like the other bodyguards said. Miss Wanwan, how did you do that just now? 11 asked. I'm not too sure myself, Yi Wanwan looked dumbstruck. Let's do it again, then. 11 didn't believe it could happen again. After that, 11 returned to the ring and concentrated all his energy in his fist then aimed it towards Yi Wanwan again. Pow! In the next second, a familiar sound resounded throughout the training room. 11 was punched by Yi Wanwan once again. This time, Yi Wanwan clearly saw through 11's flaws. Again. 11 repeated. Pow! 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 Within 1 minute, 11 used numerous martial arts techniques but was still beaten up by Yi Wanwan 7 to 8 times in a row. Each time 11 used his full strength to attack, Yi Wanwan's mind went blank and entered a weird state of mind. Her heart was completely calm without the slightest hint of anxiety or panic. She saw through 11's weaknesses and her body performed the necessary adjustments before attacking 11. She felt this way before but never really paid much attention to it and it had also never appeared so plainly before. The other bodyguards were speechless. Who was the one who said Miss Wanwan only has brute force? How is this just brute force? Each time she attacked, it was swift and ruthless. She only used one move, but it was the most direct blow without any delays at all. What's the skill of death? This is the skill of death. The skill of death taught by 11 was merely to kill and wear the enemy out, other than that, it had no use at all. While Yi Wanwan's display seemed simple and rough, it was a very good fit with the name, Skill of Death. Chapter 539, Could it be that I'm a kung fu master? Yi Wanwan scanned her own hands in shock and her mind was in a whirl. Miss Wanwan, the other bodyguards looked at one another in disbelief. As a bodyguard in the C family, each one of them was an elite, so they naturally could tell that Yi Wanwan's moves were clean and decisive. If Yu Wanwan had a dagger in her hands, 11 would have died over 10 times. 11 stared at her like he had just seen a ghost. The kung fu technique he was immensely proud of was simply blocked by Yu Wanwan. None of his moves worked at all. No matter how swiftly he moved, Yu Wanwan always beat him to it, and her moves were extremely tricky. He wasn't able to anticipate them. Are you losing to me on purpose? After quite a while, Yu Wanwan looked at 11 suspiciously. 11 was the C family's bodyguard and also the leader of Dark Team 1. Needless to say, he was strong and skilled. Yu Wanwan had no lack of understanding about herself. She had just learned about wrestling today, yet she was able to take him down every single time. 11 stared at Yu Wanwan and the corners of his mouth started twitching, but no words came out. In the beginning, 11 did give in to her purposely, just as Yu Wanwan said, but after that, 11 used his full strength, yet he was still unable to dodge Yu Wanwan's attacks. Whether it was speed or strength or timing of the attacks, it was as if Yu Wanwan had gone through meticulous planning. She took control first, causing 11 to always be in a passive state without the energy to fight back. Miss Wanwan, there's indeed more to you than meets the eye. A while later, 11 spoke up. At this moment, Yu Wanwan's face was filled with doubt. Judging by 11's expression, he really looked like he hadn't lost to her. Was it possible that Yu Wanwan had a legendary bone structure, a one-of-a-kind gift? Coach 11, let me use my full strength to attack. Yu Wanwan took a deep breath. She couldn't forget that weird state of mind she was just in, like she entered some kind of mysterious state. Her heart was as calm as still water while her instincts created a response. All right, 11 nodded. His palm rapidly moved towards Yu Wanwan. Following the movement of 11's palm, Yu Wanwan inexplicably felt threatened and went into that mysterious state again and scanned everything around her coldly. Pow! Suddenly, Yu Wanwan lifted her right arm and knocked it against 11's chin in an instant. Even though 11's move was fast, he wasn't faster than Yu Wanwan. His palm was still in midair, and before he could get close to Yu Wanwan's body, his entire body was flung off by Yu Wanwan. People all said that learning martial arts was extremely torturous and as difficult as flying, but to Yu Wanwan, this wasn't the case at all, and it didn't seem challenging to her. Could it be that I'm a kung fu master? Yu Wanwan retracted her fists. She felt a little weird in her heart. She only thought she had a great memory and perceptive skills, but she thought she was all talk and was very weak at fighting. After today's intensive training, however, she discovered she had such talent in kung fu. Coach 11. I think I can go faster, please continue. Yu Wanwan watched as 11 got up. Hearing what Yu Wanwan said, 11 shook his head like a rattle and sobbed. Miss Wanwan, no more, really, it's fine, let's try once more. Yu Wanwan tried to persuade him patiently. Miss Wanwan, if we keep going, I might lose my life. 11's face was swollen and bruised. He never wanted to fight with Yu Wanwan ever again. Chapter 540, Please take me as your disciple. Seeing as Yu Wanwan still wanted to speak, 11 quickly turned to the bodyguards outside the ring and ordered, all of you, come over and spar with Miss Wanwan. The bodyguards, who had been belly laughing, had their smiles frozen on their faces. They could no longer laugh. Yu Wanwan had such a weird talent, and they all witnessed how 11 couldn't even take her on. If they stepped up, wasn't that just asking to be beaten? However, since 11 already made the order, these bodyguards couldn't refuse. They could only brace themselves and walk into the ring. Pow! Boom! Thump! The bodyguards' cries echoed throughout the training room continuously. 7 minutes later, a couple bodyguards had bruised and swollen faces like 11, and they looked at Yu Wanwan with admiration and respect. Although they knew Yu Wanwan was powerful when they watched her from afar, it was a totally different feeling having to experience it firsthand. These bodyguards bragged they were elites, but in front of Yu Wanwan, they weren't even worth a mention. They couldn't imagine how a weak girl could possess such terrifying energy. Are you guys really not going easy on me? Wan looked at 11 and the bodyguards who had their faces bruised. No, 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 no. One of the more delicate-looking bodyguards was the most brutally beaten up by Wan. He shook his head non-stop and was stammering. They had tried their best. They had already put in all their effort, and if they gave in to Wan, they'd probably be beaten to death by her. Wan rubbed her chin and thought. She really hadn't expected that she would be so talented in martial arts. She hadn't trained for long and already was able to beat up the coach. If she trained for another few years, wouldn't she be invincible? With that thought, her interest was piqued and a tinge of excitement appeared in her eyes. Come, all of you attack me at once. Use all your force to attack me. No, Miss Wan, please let me go, Miss Wan, we don't have any grudge against each other, Wan. Miss Mississippi. We can't defeat you, you're too strong, one of the bodyguards stammered. He looked very delicate and instinctively took a few steps back. Miss Wan, please take me as your disciple. Suddenly, 11 walked to Wan, bent his body 90 degrees and gave Wan a deep bow. Seeing what 11 was doing, Wan was stunned. Ah! Take him as my disciple. How did me and 11 switch roles all of a sudden? 11's clearly the coach while I'm the student. Coach 11, what do you mean by this? Wan was taken aback. Miss Wan, I'm serious. I know I'm not good enough, so I hope Miss Wan wouldn't mind to teach me some techniques. I want to fight for this post of head captain. 11 gritted his teeth. Wan. Miss, please, take me, as well, the delicate-looking bodyguard stammered. Copying 11, he bowed deeply towards Wan. However, his stuttering was quite serious and everyone started getting nervous for him when they heard what he said, almost entering a cold sweat on his behalf. Miss Wan, what he wants to say is that he would like you to also accept him as your disciple and teach him some kung fu. One of the bodyguards couldn't listen any further and intervened. Chapter 541, If Things Go Wrong, Right, That's Right, Right, what he said was, right. The delicate-looking bodyguard stuttered and nodded continuously. I wish to fight for the post of team leader, this time, damn, he said he wants to fight for the position of team leader. This has always been his goal and dream. He hopes Miss Wan can take him as a disciple and help him fulfill his wish. An impatient onlooker helped him finish his sentence in one breath. Right, that's right, he's right. The stutterer nodded non-stop. Miss Wan, please, cold sweat started forming on Wan's forehead. Wait, you guys want me to take you on as disciples? Do all of you have some weird misunderstanding about me? Everyone, including 11 and the bodyguard who stuttered, shook their heads in unison. Not at all right? They really misunderstood her in the past, but now everything was as clear as day. 11 said with a serious expression, Miss Wan, we're completely serious. I've practiced martial arts for many years now and have reached a bottleneck. I can't advance no matter how hard I try. Miss Wan has amazing perception skills and even after exchanging only a couple moves with you just now, it's benefited me. If Miss Wan is willing to take me on, even if you provide me with only 1 or 2 tips, 11 would be extremely grateful. The stutterer knew he couldn't properly say what he was thinking, but thankfully, the captain already said everything on his mind and so, he nodded in agreement. Just like Captain 11, please. Miss Wan, agree. I want to be strong. Wan hadn't even returned to her senses from the sudden transformation to a kung fu teacher, when her own coach and a bodyguard started pleading for her to take them on as disciples. Her entire mind went blank. The problem is, I really don't know anything about this. Wouldn't I be setting your progress back and misleading you? Yi Wanwan replied with a throbbing headache. 11 lowered his eyes and looked quite glum. Miss Wanwan thinks I'm not good enough. Yi Wanwan, huh? I've always been a weak chicken, why would I think this captain isn't good enough? Where's he getting this from? Yi Wanwan felt this situation was too absurd and obviously didn't want to agree, but she couldn't handle the pestering of these two people, so in the end, she had no choice but to say, I agree. Hearing what Yi Wanwan said, the two people were overjoyed and they wanted to express their gratitude at first but were stopped by Yi Wanwan instantly. Yi Wanwan continued sternly, but I have to make it clear first, I'm not very sure of this myself, so I can't promise I can teach you guys anything. I was forced into this and if things go wrong, you're not allowed to complain about me to your master Si Han. Teacher, you're too modest. 11 was stirred up. After experiencing Yi Wanwan's frightening strength firsthand, who would believe she wasn't sure what she was doing? Miss Wanwan, we would like a teacher as well. Suddenly, the rest of the bodyguards stepped forward eagerly. Alright, we'll talk about this again after the assessment is over. The teacher can't handle so many disciples at once, 11 hurriedly said. Hearing this, the bodyguards pouted but could only let it go. Each of them regretted hesitating and not stepping forward to seize the opportunity when it was first presented to them. Chapter 542, We'll talk after you're dressed. Yi Wanwan had to attend the Golden Orchid Award ceremony that night. After her training ended, she took off her activewear and changed into a men's outfit. In the master bedroom, Si Han had just ended his acupuncture therapy session. On his bare upper body, there were countless blue-black spots caused by the needles. Yi Wanwan had a slight phobia of needles, so each time Si Han did his acupuncture therapy, she didn't stick around. Did it hurt? Yi Wanwan sat next to him and asked. Si Han buttoned up his top and replied calmly, I'm fine. Yi Wanwan furrowed her brows. Why don't I keep you company next time? Si Han glanced at her then said, no need for that. I'll have to take care of you if you faint. Yi Wanwan was speechless. He's truly a robot. Oh, right. Yi Wanwan remembered something and her expression turned serious all of a sudden. Si Han, I have something very important I need to tell you. Si Han responded while buttoning up his shirt, what? Yi Wanwan stared at the way Si Han fastened his buttons, revealing some bare skin and was suddenly stuck. Si Han looked at her suspiciously and waited for her to continue. Yi Wanwan held her forehead helplessly and waved her arms. We'll talk after you're dressed. I completely forgot what I wanted to say. The man was stunned at first, then a soft smile seemed to appear on his face. After some time, he was done fastening all the buttons and said, all right, what did you want to say? Seeing that Si Han was dressed, Yi Wanwan was satisfied and remembered what she wanted to say. Yi Wanwan pondered for a moment then said sternly, Si Han, I suddenly realized I might be a kung fu master. Si Han, Yi Wanwan panicked when there was no reaction from Si Han. What, you don't believe me? I went to the training grounds with 11 today and he taught me some wrestling techniques. In the end, I knocked 11 to the ground. 11 even wanted to be my disciple. You agreed? Si Han asked as his eyes grew dimmer. Yi Wanwan looked helpless. Oh, at first, I thought this was ridiculous and I would never accept him as my disciple. How on earth could my trainer suddenly become my disciple? However, 11 was very stubborn and even thought I looked down on his skills. I didn't have a choice so I agreed to it. Aside from 11, there was another young bodyguard who stutters. Yi Wanwan spoke and pinched her brows lethargically. Actually, I'm not sure when it started. Today I was very perceptive and more capable than ordinary people, like I already had all these skills inside me from the beginning. For example, martial arts and acting. I can do them instinctively. I wasn't learning these skills but merely adapted them as I needed to. It feels really weird. Si Han looked at her confused little face and placed his large palm on her head, stroking it softly. It's not weird, you're just gifted. As if worried that she wouldn't believe him, Si-han added, I'm like that too. The moment his large palm touched her head, Yi Wanwan was immediately infused with a sense of relief, but in the next second, when she heard Si-han's words, she was speechless. Baby, are you serious? Me? Gifted? Yi Wanwan coughed lightly. Alright, I do believe the last 4 words you said. Si-han is gifted, that's for sure. But as for me, how can I be on the same level as a twisted genius like Si-han? Chapter 543, Award Ceremony. It was probably because Yi Wanwan poured everything out to Si-han that she felt much better. Besides, she should take things as they came. Even rebirth was possible, so what was impossible? At 8 p.m., the 46th Annual Golden Orchid Awards ceremony officially began. As an annual feast in the entertainment industry, the scene was dazzling and grand. The media gathered to photograph those on the red carpet who were all A-listers and rising stars. Han Xianyu and Xiao Ke-xian would be walking down the red carpet together tonight. The two of them had known each other for years and had always been known as brother and sister in the industry, so there wouldn't be any scandal arising from this. The combination of a handsome gentleman and a beauty was always eye-catching. The two of them took up countless roles of film the second they appeared. When the host saw the subject of scrutiny, Xiao Ke-xian, his eyes lit up and he hurriedly asked questions which he had already prepared beforehand. Ke-xian, the box office for Legend of the Quiet Girl has already broken through 600 million, this really calls for a celebration. It's a pity though that many netizens don't think this film has a high chance of receiving an award. They think it's too commercialized, completely surrounded with a money-making stench, and they're also very critical about your acting. I wonder if you're confident that you can clinch the Best Actress award tonight? The host's choice of words was provocative, obviously trying to agitate Xiao Ke-xian and create an explosive drama. Furthermore, this topic was exactly Xiao Ke-xian's sore spot. As expected, the hot-tempered Xiao Ke-xian narrowed her eyes and was about to curse at him. At this moment, Han Xianyu sensed something was wrong, so he quickly coughed and spoke up before Xiao Ke-xian could. I've already asked Xianjia this question before. Xianjia said there are many strong seniors around tonight, so she won't force it, she'll do what she can and leave the rest to fate. Han Xianyu then pulled Xiao Ke-xian away immediately without giving the host a chance to speak. Xiao Ke-xian glared at the host and gave him a dirty look. Not far off, Yi Wanwan observed that scene and held her forehead helplessly. Xiao Ke-xian's tarnished reputation was also in part created by her bad temper. At this moment, there was an even louder gasp at the scene. Yi Wanwan looked up and saw that the next couple walking down the red carpet wasn't some A-lister but Emperor Sky's director of the talent recruitment department, Yi, along with Gu Group's chairman cum CEO of Emperor Sky, Gu Yuze. This couple consisted of a delicate and beautiful girl and a tall and handsome man. Their looks were in no way inferior to the celebrities in the entertainment industry, and they held powerful statuses themselves. What was more eye-catching was that there were a couple megastars from Emperor Sky following behind them. All of them were the hottest artists who won many awards before. This Emperor Sky heavenly entourage grabbed everyone's attention instantly. The host raised his microphone and exclaimed dramatically, "Wow! This must be the strongest lineup on the red carpet tonight. Director Yi, Chairman Gu, I'm not sure if the two of you are confident about the awards ceremony tonight?" Yi turned to Gu Yuze in a gentle manner, appearing to sing her husband's tune. Gu Yuze didn't have much reaction as he replied plainly, "We're determined to win." The cold and solemn expression on his charming face immediately stirred up the screams of many love-struck fans. The host was starry-eyed as well. Indeed, one's manner of speech is different when one has confidence. But it's not surprising at all, since senior Lee Chong-yi for the Best Actor award is a shoo-in and Chi Mei-lin is also in the running for the Best Actress award. Who knows, maybe Emperor Sky will be able to clinch both titles tonight. When the host said, one's manner of speech is different when one has confidence, the host was obviously trying to ridicule Xiao Ke-xian. Chapter 544, Not her usual self. Yi Wanwan stood and watched silently as Yi Yi and Gu Yuze led Emperor Sky's entourage with all the limelight on them. Today's Yi Group was still dominant in the entertainment industry even after clashing with Worldwide and other companies, so it was inevitable they would reap a plentiful harvest this time. Previously, there were many news releases stating that Emperor Sky would be creating a massacre this time. However, they might have to be disappointed if they were trying to seize both the Best Actor and Actress awards. Yi Wanwan didn't have to walk the red carpet, so after watching from a distance, she walked directly to the grand hall for the ceremony. Han Xianyu was too busy and got his assistant to pass the entrance tickets to Yi Wanwan in a rush. Yi Wanwan held out her tickets and was preparing to look for her seat. Alas, when she saw her seat number, she was stunned. Why is it so close to the front? Is there a mistake somewhere? Yi Wanwan checked it 3 times and realized that it was the right seat, so she gave Han Xianyu's assistant a call to check again. In the end, the assistant was on the line and she couldn't get through. Yi Wanwan was in a difficult position. After all, she couldn't simply sit anywhere she liked for an event like this. Yi Wanwan couldn't reach the assistant at all. She had no choice but to sit and wait in a corner. Her head was hurting when suddenly, she heard a familiar pair of footsteps in front of her. Following that, an arm went around her shoulders intimately. Yi Bai, what are you doing here? All she saw was Han Xianyu dressed in an exquisite custom-made white suit from brand C. He was even more dashing than usual. Yi Wanwan was shocked for a moment. Xianyu, I noticed you weren't in your seat still. Didn't Xiaoyang give you your ticket? Han Xianyu asked. She did, but the seat number didn't seem right. Isn't it a little too close to the front? Yi Wanwan replied. Han Xianyu took a closer look then said, Nothing's wrong, this is the right seat. You're next to me. Let's go. Having said that, he brought Yi Wanwan to the seat in front. Next to you. Yi Wanwan was in even more shock. Don't worry, the assistant director who was supposed to sit next to me couldn't make it, so Xinjia and I gave this seat to you. There won't be any problems. Yi Wanwan felt relieved after hearing Han Xianyu say that. Although the awards ceremony hadn't started, Han Xianyu attracted quite a bit of attention when he suddenly stood up, walked to the back and was so friendly to an unfamiliar face. Yi Wanwan was quickly brought to the empty seat on Han Xianyu's left side. On his right was Xiao Kuexian. The moment Xiao Kuexian saw her, she smiled gently and said, Hi little Mr. Fortune Teller, we meet again. Yi Wanwan was a little embarrassed. Hello Xinjia, I'm really sorry I was rude last time. Xiao Kuexian blinked. No, you weren't. It was very nice seeing you last time. I wanted to see you again, you're so cute. If you're free later, why don't? Han Xianyu couldn't listen to this any longer. He used his body to block the two of them and reminded them, Xinjia, we're in public. Could you please be more careful? They'll start filming very soon. Xiao Kuexian pouted and finally stopped. Yi Wanwan heaved a sigh of relief and whispered to Han Xianyu, Thanks. Seeing the way Yi Wanwan was so flustered, Han Xianyu laughed. You're really two different people when you're sober and when you're drunk. Yi Wanwan didn't know what to say. Cough, don't ever bring up my drunk incident ever again. Chapter 545, I'm afraid he wouldn't be getting both crowns after they settled down. Yi Wanwan realized Gu Yuze and Yi Yi were sitting in the row directly in front of them and next to Yi Yi was the extremely popular actress, Chi Mei Lin. The awards ceremony hadn't started, but there were many people who came forward to congratulate them already. Congratulations, Director Yi, I'm afraid Emperor Sky will be claiming all the awards for sure this time. Yi Yi was dressed in a limited edition champagne-colored gown. She was unbelievably beautiful and was exchanging greetings with everyone modestly, You flatter me. The results aren't out yet, so we can't be sure. There's still a large gap between Man Ni's acting skills and the seniors, there's still room for improvement not to mention that the strength of the other nominees can't be underestimated. Director Yi, you're too modest. How could the seedlings you personally groomed be second-rate? As for the other nominees, Luan is probably the only one who has a chance to vie for that award. Others like Xiao Kuxian are simply there to fill up the vacancies. Ha ha ha, that's right. I'm already prepared and waiting for Chairman Gu's celebratory treat for getting both crowns. Yi Wanwan and Xiao Kuxian were very close to them and could obviously hear everything those people were saying. Xiao Kuxian's expression was extremely ugly, like it could explode any second. TSK, both crowns, what a big appetite, huh? Hearing Xiao Kuxian's voice from behind, those people in front froze. Who in the entertainment industry didn't know that one shouldn't offend Xiao Kuxian? Someone immediately changed the subject and tried to mediate the situation. Hehe, Xianjia, your movie this time was quite popular as well. It broke through 600 million at the box office. Congratulations, congratulations. An actress from Emperor Sky who didn't get along with Xiao Kuxian lowered her voice and sneered, we were just speaking the truth, is there a problem with that? Han Xianyu frowned. Before the results are out, it's better to keep some comments to yourself. Dressed in a red, Chi Mei Lin mocked, yes, of course, we shouldn't be too confident about it, but no matter who the recipient of the Best Actress award is going to be, it will never be Xiao Kuxian, right? What she said was really unpleasant. Yi, who was sitting by the side, didn't seem to have any intention of controlling her own artist. Tisk, it'll never be me. Do you really think it'll be you, huh? Xiao Kuxian stood up all of a sudden, extremely agitated. They wouldn't attract any attention if they were just sitting down and talking casually, but if this blew up, it'd be an ugly scene for sure. Well, I think the Best Actress award will definitely go to Xianjia and no one else. The man's low and hoarse voice suddenly resounded and everyone turned in his direction. They looked at the young man seated next to Han Xianyu. The young man was hidden in the dim light and appeared almost non-existent, but when everyone noticed him, they realized this young man looked quite stunning. His casual and lazy manner had the feeling of a son from a wealthy family. Under these circumstances, when they didn't know who this person was, nobody dared to spout nonsense. Chi Mei Lin glanced at the man in displeasure, and you are? Yi Wanwan replied, I'm just a nobody. There's no need for this beauty here to know my name. When Chi Mei Lin heard the young man's reply, she replied loftily, since you're just a nobody, who are you to speak? She was an A-lister in the entertainment industry after all and didn't have to tolerate anyone's attitude. In addition, she had Yi Yi and Gu Yuze as her backers right now, so naturally, she didn't have much restraint. Regarding her bad attitude, Yi Wanwan didn't mind it and laughed it off. She mumbled, it's just that coincidentally, I know a little about the 8 trigrams and 5 elements and I predicted that Chairman Gu's fortune may not be that prosperous. I'm afraid he won't be getting both crowns tonight. Gu Yuze couldn't be bothered with this argument at first, but when he heard this, he furrowed his brows slightly and turned to look at the person speaking. Chapter 546, A Bet with a Kiss. At one glance, Gu Yuze was taken aback the second he saw the young man. Why does this young man look so familiar? Like, he looks somewhat similar to Yi Wanwan at Grandfather Ye's banquet the other time. But his mannerisms were completely opposite to hers, furthermore, he was a guy. It was common for people to look alike, especially in showbiz as cosmetic surgeries were prevalent. Hence, Gu Yuze simply took another look but didn't think much about it. It was just that this guy's appearance really made him recall the day Yi Wanwan called off their engagement at the banquet, and thus, Gu Yuze's expression turned darker. Businessmen were all very superstitious about luck and fortune. The Gu family especially hired a geomancy expert with an exorbitant price tag. They also repaired the temple and made donations every year. So when this person suddenly appeared and commented that his fortune wasn't looking so good, he obviously felt quite uncomfortable. When Yi Wanwan met Gu Yuze's dull gaze, a hint of a smile suddenly overflowed from her eyes. What, Chairman Gu, you don't believe me? Why don't I read your fortune for free right here, huh? Gu Yuze glanced coldly at him and turned his head back very quickly. He didn't bother with him at all and treated him like a little clown. Chi Mei Lin hurriedly said, Chairman Gu, don't stoop to his level. He looks like a cheater and even knows how to read fortunes, huh? Why don't you work at the temple instead? What are you doing here in the entertainment industry? Yi Wanwan shrugged and casually said, if you change your mind, Chairman Gu, you can look for me anytime. Chi Mei Lin was speechless and muttered a curse, crazy. Yi turned and glanced at the young man. Her brows knitted slightly but she didn't say anything. Everyone thought Yi Wanwan was merely cursing Gu Yuze and was trying to speak up for worldwide, so nobody took her words seriously. Seeing that these people were so mad that they kept quiet, Xiao Kuxian flashed a brilliant smile and said, Little Mr. Fortune Teller, well done. If it wasn't for Han Xianyu, this light bulb between us, Jiejia would definitely give you a kiss. Yi Wanwan, thank goodness Han Xianyu's between us. Han Xianyu was completely speechless as well. He said helplessly, Yi Bai, although what you said has eased the tension in the air for a while, wouldn't you have to slap yourself in the face if they really win both awards later? Yi Wanwan's eyes were as sparkly as the stars and a glow appeared on her face. What, if I'm right? Han Xianyu was dazzled by the radiance in the young man's eyes. He roared in laughter and said, if you're right, that would be fantastic and I shall call you a psychic. Having said that, Han Xianyu seemed to have thought of something. He looked at Xiao Kuxian first then looked at Yi Bai and his face turned slightly awkward. Yi Wanwan noticed the difference in Han Xianyu's expression and asked, what is it? Han Xianyu coughed lightly and looked down then he moved closer to Yi Wanwan. Have you forgotten about the bet you made with Xianjia that night when you were drunk? Ah. What bet? Yi Wanwan was confused. He really forgot about it. Han Xianyu held his forehead, feeling at a loss. That, you said if you won, Xianjia has to give you a kiss after she receives the Best Actress award. The second Han Xianyu said that Yi Wanwan's head went completely blank and she was dumbfounded. Damn. I actually did something so shameless when I was drunk. Chapter 547, I really wish to win an award by now. Yi Wanwan recalled she made a bet and Han Xianyu had told her about it but she had been very busy lately and had completely forgotten about it. Shit, are you sure? Are you sure I made this bet with Xianjie? Yi Wanwan still found it quite hard to believe. Han Xianyu nodded. Of course I'm sure. I remember it very clearly. When you made the bet, Xianjie even blushed from your flirting. Yi Wanwan, Han Xianyu avoided Xiao Kuxian and consoled Yi Bai softly, anyway, the bet has already been made. Luckily, Xianjie's chances of winning aren't too high. Saying her chances weren't high was sugarcoating it, everyone thought it was completely impossible. No matter how popular the movie was, it was near impossible to get an award from a commercialized movie. Yi Wanwan's face darkened as she held her forehead and sobbed inside. Problem is, Xiao Kuxian will actually win the award, alright? She wouldn't have been so sure at first, but after being reborn for so long, it was already proven that everything progressed the same way as in her previous life. I feel so tired. How can I go back on this bet? Who asked you to drink? Who asked you to drink? Why didn't you listen to baby? Hey, the two of you, what are you guys whispering about behind my back? Xiao Kuxian asked, rather displeased. Cough, nothing much, nothing much. Han Xianyu hurriedly sat upright. Yi Wanwan immediately sat up as well, even though her heart was in a mess. She could only hope that Xiao Kuxian had forgotten about this bet. Xiao Kuxian cupped her face and mumbled, too bad. I actually really wanted to win the award so I can finally kiss my little fortune teller GG, openly. Fuck. Yi Wanwan wanted to die. When Han Xianyu heard Xiao Kuxian being increasingly affectionate towards Yi Bai, his head was filled with black lines. You're older than him, is it really appropriate for you to call him GG? And on that sorrowful note, the awards ceremony officially began. On stage, two hosts were enthusiastically giving the opening speech followed by an opening performance. After that, the big screen quickly showed the list of nominated films for the night. Alright, now is the moment everyone's been waiting for, the award presentation. Tonight, the first award we'll be presenting is the Best Edited Film Award. Every year, the sequence of awards changed and they were basically arranged based on the degree of competitiveness and influence of the award. Other than the award for Best Movie that was always at the end, the sequence of awards for Best Director, Best Actor and Actress were all adjusted by the host according to the situation to create maximum suspense. For instance, this time the catfight for Best Actress was the most intense, so it was going to be presented right before the Best Movie Award, making it the second to last award to be revealed. The first few awards presented were minor and unimportant ones, so Han Xianyu took the opportunity to chat. Oh right, Yi Bai, how did you manage to make your predictions before? I heard you mention that the best newcomer would be Zhao Mingzhe, best supporting actress would be Lin Jiayin, best supporting actor would be Meng Liangyu and the best actor would be Li Zhongyi. I didn't remember wrong, right? Yi Wanwan was speechless. I actually listed out all the important awards. Xiao Kexian was all smiles as she leaned over and added, there's also me, the best actress. Yi Wanwan, please just leave me alone. Next award we're presenting is Best Newcomer. The newcomers this year are very impressive, so it was really hard to decide the winner. I wonder who it will be. Let's wait and see. At this moment, the ceremony reached a small climax as they prepared to announce the recipient of the Best Newcomer Award. Chapter 548. I really want to work under you on the large screen. The nominees for the Best Newcomer Award were shown. Li Yi, Elixir of Love. Jiang Sen-yi, 101 Nights. Zhao Mingzhe, Spring Feast. Gong Su, Love Will Never Come. The host sugar-coated his words. He mentioned how impressive they were and how fierce the competition was, but the truth was that various major production corporations churned out many newbies, resulting in the acting skills of these newbies to be mediocre. It was like picking from a bunch of weaklings. Even Gong Su was a nominee, so it was obvious how pathetic this award was. Zhao Mingzhe was an artist under Zhou Wenbin before, and through his connection with a sponsor, he hired a famous director at a high price to film an artistic film just for the sake of getting an award. The Best Newcomer Award goes to the lead actor of Spring Feast, Zhao Mingzhe. Congratulations! The host finally announced the winner. Everyone started clapping instinctively. Xiao Kexian beamed. Aya, congrats little fortune teller GGE. You got one right. Yi Wanwan coughed lightly. Cough, this wasn't really that hard to guess. In the row in front of them, Han Xianyu, Yi Yi, and the others saw that someone from Worldwide received this award, but they didn't react much to it. It was merely the Best Newcomer Award. They didn't really care for it. Chi Mei Lin sneered loud enough so that the people in the row behind could hear. It's just the Best Newcomer Award, what's there to celebrate? Who doesn't know that the Best Newcomer Award this time is horrendous? Even Gong Su's name is up there. Hearing Gong Su's name once again, Yi Wanwan sighed. Almost everyone used the phrase, even Gong Su's name is up there, to belittle the award, so it was pretty clear how tarnished that boy's reputation was. Hence, Yi Wanwan hadn't allowed Gong Su to come to the awards on purpose. Otherwise, that'd be another mess she had to clean up. Although Gong Su was still being ridiculed while not present, at least the impact wouldn't be as large. Now that this troublesome guy was in her hands, it would be a long, arduous journey to wash his name clean, so she could only do it slowly. Han Xianyu understood how Yi Wanwan felt, so he patted her shoulders in consolation. My condolences, Han Xianyu paused before saying, but I was really quite surprised you actually took Gong Su on. Even though the news about Gong Su being transferred over to Yi Bai hadn't been made public yet, Han Xianyu was from Worldwide and obviously knew about this. When he found out, he was quite shocked. He really didn't know whether to congratulate or pity Yi Bai. Yi Wanwan smiled bitterly. Gong Soo is still considered a popular A-lister now, and you know I don't have that many artists working with me now. So I can only groom him slowly. Han Xianyu obviously knew that grooming Gong Soo wasn't an easy task. He smiled. Actually, I really want to work under you. Yi Wanwan looked at Han Xianyu in surprise. This didn't seem like Han Xianyu's first time saying it, so she smiled as well. As if. You're worldwide's money tree, how could you work under me? Han Xianyu focused on the young man. Then you have to work harder and try to take me under your wing someday. Yi Wanwan knew he was joking, so she nodded. Alright, I'll definitely put in more effort for little angel Xianyu. My career goal is to have little angel Xianyu under me. Han Xianyu stared at the young man's smile. Ha, I'm looking forward to that. Chapter 549. Got it right again. After the Best Newcomer Award were two minor awards followed by the Best Supporting Actor Award. The list of nominees for this award were all very strong and it wasn't so easy to guess the winner. Worldwide's Tang Xinghua and Emperor Sky's Meng Liangyu were the more popular contenders. Yi Wanwan didn't want to put Worldwide down, but Meng Liangyu was certainly well prepared and had surpassed his competitors as a supporting actor. One nominee who was up against Meng Liangyu was a rookie. Worldwide was grooming and pushing out. Meng Liangyu was an oldie at Emperor Sky when his father was still around, but once his father left, his popularity seemed to drop. This award could probably improve his popularity a little. Han Xianyu mumbled, Best Supporting Actor, this is a hard one to guess. Yi Bai, are you sure it'll be Meng Liangyu? Tang Xinghua's performance wasn't bad either. Yi Wanwan replied with a straight face, it's indeed hard to guess. Xiao Kexian said, I think Tang's chances of winning are higher. Previously at the banquet, I met some of the members of the judging panel and they had many good things to say about Tang. The three of them were speculating. After the host said a bunch of nonsense, he finally announced the winner. The Best Supporting Actor award goes to the supporting actor Meng Liangyu from the movie Red Lotus. Congratulations. The hall resounded with applause and the camera turned in Meng Liangyu's direction. Everyone from Emperor Sky stood up and hugged Meng Liangyu to congratulate him. Although Emperor Sky really wished another actor they were grooming would get the award, at least Meng Liangyu was also from Emperor Sky. A few rows behind, Tang Xinghua shrugged nonchalantly. Tang Xinghua hung out with Gong Soo and the gang very often and was also a well-known member of the class of wealthy second-generation kids. Although he acted better than Gong Soo, he probably didn't really care for awards. Xiao Kexian chirped, Aya, little fortune teller Ge, you got it right again Yi Wanwan forced a smile and didn't say anything. Yes, I got it right again. I'll get all of them right, okay. On stage, Meng Liangyu was giving an emotional thank you speech. Just like other artists, after he thanked the audience, director, company, Meng Liangyu added, finally, I would also like to thank my talent scout. Because of his appreciation and support, I'm able to be here today. Outsiders might have thought Meng Liangyu was referring to Yi Shaoan, but insiders would know that Meng Liangyu was scouted and groomed by Yi Shaoting. Yi Wanwan felt quite moved when she heard Meng Liangyu's speech. Her father had great foresight and to this day, Meng Liangyu still remembered her father. He didn't even care that what he said might offend the higher-ups. As expected, Yi and Gu Yuzhe's faces turned ugly when they heard Meng Liangyu. As an outsider, even Han Xianyu couldn't help but sigh. This Meng Liangyu is a real man. The following awards were the Best Sound Effects and Best Documentary, then the third little climax arrived, Best Supporting Actress. This award was really difficult to guess. The catfight for this award was almost as intense as the Best Actress award. The audience and judging panel had a huge quarrel over it and all the fans of various actresses were also in turmoil. Even Yi and Gu Yuzhe's expressions became more solemn as they stared at the big screen. Xiao Kexian tapped her chin and commented, the nominees for the Best Supporting Actress award are quite strong, they're pretty evenly matched. Han Xianyu chimed in, indeed, I think even the judging panel was in a sticky spot. Chapter 550. Too lucky. Everyone was discussing and awaiting the outcome anxiously while Yu Wanwan sneakily let out a yawn and looked somewhat bored. This feeling of knowing things before it happened was exactly like knowing the identity of the murderer in a thriller. Life is really boring. As expected, the host wanted to create more suspense, so after spouting a whole bunch of nonsense, he finally revealed the recipient's name. Congratulations, Miss Lin Jia-in. After the announcement of the Best Supporting Actress, Han Xianyu and Xiao Kuexian were stunned and turned their heads to Yu Wanwan at the same time. Han Xianyu raised his brows. Got 3 of them right in a row. After going through a long and slow list of small awards, the ceremony finally reached the most anticipated awards, Best Actor and Actress. The most exciting moment has arrived. The next award we'll be presenting is tonight's recipient of Best Actor. Yu Wanwan nearly fell asleep even when the host was speaking with such enthusiasm. Are you very sleepy? Han Xianyu asked, noticing Yu Wanwan's lack of interest. Yu Wanwan shrugged. I already predicted the answer, so obviously I'm pretty bored. Han Xianyu treated it as a joke and shook his head helplessly. However, the second Yu Wanwan replied to him, the host was finally done with his climactic speech and announced the recipient of the Best Actor Award. Tonight, Golden Orchid's Best Actor Award goes to Mountains and Rivers, Li Zhongyi. The hall was filled with thunderous applause. Han Xianyu couldn't help but exclaim, "You're too lucky, you managed to get 4 out of 5 big awards right." That's right. And I'll be getting the 5th one right as well, the most highly anticipated award of the Golden Orchid Award ceremony tonight. Xiao Kuexian laughed. Even I'm getting a little eager now. Will I really be the best actress? When Chi Mei Lin overheard the conversation between the 3 people behind her, she muttered in a mocking way, "Tisk, some people have really thick skin, huh?" Xiao Kuexian, rather than believing this liar, why don't you believe the opinions of numerous netizens? You're the One artist on the list of artists who will never receive the Best Actress award. Chi Mei Lin's name was nominated this time as well, and the chances of her winning weren't low. She and Xiao Kuexian had a similar acting trajectory and were in rival companies, so they were constantly battling each other, so Chi Mei Lin obviously wanted to take this chance to step all over Xiao Kuexian. Unlike Xiao Kuexian's tarnished reputation, Chi Mei Lin's was much better, and she was known for keeping her hands clean in the entertainment industry and being a good example of a goddess. Each time Chi Mei Lin's team sent out a press release, they would make sure to compare her to Xiao Kuexian and trample on Xiao Kuexian. However, in reality, the one who had always been diligent and studied meticulously to improve her acting skills was Xiao Kuexian, who the public had blackened until there were no clean spots on her. On the other hand, their goddess, Chi Mei Lin, had a private life that was unbearable to even think about. Xiao Kuexian retorted, "Mind your own business. Why do you care who I believe?" He's a liar. When Yu Wanwan heard that, she muttered something to herself, then said, "This liar's gotta give a word of advice to Miss Chi. Keep walking in the dark and you'll definitely bump into a ghost someday." Too bad, I just predicted that tonight, after the Golden Orchid Awards ceremony, Miss Chi will meet a disastrous calamity. Maybe I can sell you a method to break the curse at a 5% discount. Chi Mei Lin burst out laughing. "Ha, what a joke. I've been in the entertainment industry for such a long time, and this is the first time I've met an idiot like yourself. Is Worldwide so desperate that they're recruiting people like you?" When Chi Mei Lin was almost done with her mocking, Yi Yi finally spoke up and pretended to be a good guy. "That's enough, Mei Lin." Seeing that Yi Yi had spoken up, Chi Mei Lin then shut her trap and turned back. "Talking to people like you guys lowers my status." Chapter 551, Grandmaster's Standards. You're just scaring her. Han Xianyu asked. Yu Wanwan raised her brows. "What do you think?" Although Han Xianyu didn't say anything, he obviously thought Yu Wanwan was simply scaring her. After a song and dance performance in the middle of the ceremony, it was finally time for the Best Actress award. Several of the nominated films were shown in the slides. Fang Min, A Letter from Paris. Chi Mei Lin, My Mother. Shun Ro, Deep in the Palace. Xiao Ku Xian, Legend of the Quiet Girl. The male and female hosts were echoing one another. Man, oh goodness. This is too exciting. Who will the Best Actress be this time? Woman, cut the suspense and announce it right now. We can't wait any longer. Man, why don't you give it a guess? Woman, this is too hard to guess. I really can't do it, can you give us a hint? The two hosts kept going on and didn't reveal who it was, causing the audience to be so anxious that they stretched their necks in anticipation, but it was evident that this was the effect the organizers wanted. The big screen on stage was divided into 4 sections and live reactions of the 4 nominees were on the screen for everyone to see. As they were almost done setting the stage, the male host finally relented. Alright, since it's a request from a beauty, I'll give you a little hint, the recipient's name has 3 syllables. The female host immediately exclaimed, wow, that's a big hint. Does that mean the winner is either Chi Mei Lin or Xiao Ku Xian, huh? Following the host's words, there was an uproar in the audience and everyone turned in the direction of Xiao Ku Xian and Chi Mei Lin. This hint wasn't only big, it was directly announcing the winner, right? Xiao Ku Xian's face darkened. No matter who the winner was, she just didn't want Chi Mei Lin, her archenemy, to win. But now that the outcome was confirmed, she knew without thinking that Chi Mei Lin would definitely ridicule her after the award recipient was announced. As for Chi Mei Lin, Yi, Gu Yuzhe, and the other artists from Emperor Sky Entertainment seated in front, there were wide smiles across their faces and Chi Mei Lin almost couldn't conceal the excitement inside. The artists seating next to her even started to congratulate her. Lin Jia-in smiled and said, Lin Jia, congratulations. Chi Mei Lin glanced behind her then purposefully said out loud, don't congratulate me yet, the result isn't out yet. Maybe the Best Actress will be Xiao Ku Xian, huh? As the cameras were on them right now, Xiao Ku Xian didn't bother fighting with her at this moment and could only suppress the anger in her heart. From the moment she debuted, nobody appreciated the effort and hard work she put in. People only knew how to insult her and she was even starting to wonder whether all the effort she put in was worth it. Han Xian Yu looked somewhat awkward as he smiled bitterly. Didn't think that Emperor Sky Entertainment would clinch both awards. Yi Wanwan was annoyed. Hey, don't you guys have any trust in the Grandmaster's skills at all? Xiao Ku Xian knew Yi Wanwan was simply trying to cheer her up but that really couldn't alleviate her frustration at the moment. Maybe she shouldn't have had any ridiculous hopes of becoming a successful actress and building a career from the beginning, maybe she should just continue being a flower vase, continuing to strive to make money. Alright, enough with the suspense. If we go on, you guys will probably start throwing eggs at us. Next, let's welcome our previous Best Actress, Qiu Yu, Great Beauty Qiu, to reveal the answer. Actually, the hint from the host just now was already equivalent to announcing the result and everyone was no longer so anxious anymore. Qiu Yu stood in front of the microphone and opened the envelope in her hands. In the next second, a hint of surprise flashed in her eyes. She paused for a moment before continuing, the 46th Golden Orchids, Best Actress Award goes to. Following Qiu Yu's announcement, Chi Mei Lin responded to everyone's congratulatory wishes while she pushed aside the hair on her forehead and stood up slowly. Best Actress Award goes to Legend of the Quiet Girl, Xiao Ku Xian. Chapter 552, Why don't we honor the bet now? Following Qiu Yu's voice, the entire hall was filled with a strange silence. Everyone thought they heard wrong. What was the name Qiu Yu announced? Xiao Ku Xian. Not Chi Mei Lin but Xiao Ku Xian. How could that be? Chi Mei Lin's face was drained of all color as she stood there frozen. Her delighted eyes were instantly filled with disbelief. And the person who was in even more shock than Chi Mei Lin was Xiao Ku Xian herself. Xiao Kuxian, who was like an unmoving mountain even when she was criticized by thousands, revealed a confused and shocked expression. Xianjie. Xianjie, Xiao Kuxian only returned to her senses after Han Xianyu called her name. Her first reaction was to look at Yi Bai next to Han Xianyu. All his predictions came true. When her eyes met his bright yet resolute eyes, her heart thumped uncontrollably for a second. Why didn't I notice that when Yi Bai mentioned that I would win the Best Actress award, he didn't look like he was joking at all. He really thought I would win this award. At this moment, the silent hall suddenly exploded in noise and thunderous applause. The production team behind Legend of the Quiet Girl and many worldwide artists stepped forward to hug and congratulate Xiao Kuxian excitedly. Lin Jiayin had to pull Chi Mei Lin back before she reacted. She sat down with a stiff expression. But the camera had already recorded her standing up prematurely. The Golden Orchid Awards for the Best Supporting Actress, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Actor all landed in Emperor Sky Entertainment's hands. If they had gotten the award for Best Actress as well, Worldwide would have their pride thrown on the floor for merely winning the Best Newcomer award. Nobody expected that such a big twist would happen at the last moment. An unexpected winner emerged and the Best Actress was actually Xiao Kuxian from Worldwide Entertainment, causing everyone to be taken aback. A tinge of embarrassment appeared on Yi's gentle and calm little face, but she still smiled and clapped, acting gracious while Gu Yuzhe's face was completely black. After all, he sounded so confident when the host interviewed him earlier, yet now he was actually being slapped in the face in front of everyone. All the applause, congratulatory wishes, hugs, the feeling of ascending to heaven from hell, and the feeling of receiving a new lease on life so suddenly jolted Xiao Kuxian's mind. In the next second, she passed Han Xianyu and pulled the man next to him in a tight embrace, then mumbled softly in his ear, "Thank you, little fortune teller Ji." Yi Wanwan was stunned, then hugged her back in good taste. "Xianjie, congratulations. You don't have to thank me, it has nothing to do with me. You worked hard for it." Xiao Kuxian calmed down, then suddenly blinked and said, "Whatever it was, I won. I'm a person of my word, so why don't we honor our bet right now?" Yi Wanwan was dumbfounded. Huh? Han Xianyu quickly pretended to hug Xiao Kuxian to congratulate her and held her back, then reminded her softly in her ear, "Stop messing around, Xianjie. There are so many people watching." But according to Xiao Kuxian's character, kissing Yi Bai in front of everyone was something she would really do. At the same time, the host excitedly exclaimed on stage, "Congratulations, Kuxian. Let's invite Golden Orchid's Best Actress up on stage to receive her award." Xiao Kuxian could only pout regretfully. "Alright, I'll go up there first." Sure, Xianjie, go on." Yi Wanwan wiped the sweat off her forehead. Xiao Kuxian's just too open-minded. She's probably the only one in the entertainment industry who isn't afraid of scandals at all. Chapter 553, I'm afraid you'll die before I do. Xiao Kuxian walked up on stage in a red evening gown, radiating a glow from inside. The host quickly allowed Xiao Kuxian to give her speech according to the program. This outcome is truly surprising. Kuxian, sorry for saying this, but you also knew that among all the nominees, you didn't have a very high chance of winning. Do you have anything to say about winning the award this time? Xiao Kuxian's gaze swept across the audience. She took a deep breath and said, "I'm also really surprised with this outcome. Truth be told, just a few seconds ago, I was struggling inside. I was wondering whether I should simply give up. Anyway, I'm not normally recognized for anything I do, as if the insults I receive are the truth." To the public, Xiao Kuxian seemed to shrug off all the insults, but truthfully, she disliked being dismissed by everyone. After all, everybody likes to receive compliments and recognition. Xiao Kuxian revealed a hint of bitter helplessness and continued, "Everybody knows that in this industry, words can muddle the truth and determine the life or death of an artist. I thought that since being insulted was also a form of publicity, I'd just continue earning my money. why bother improving my acting skills and why should I prove myself? Chiao Kuexion's speech made everyone go silent. They all knew she was right, but in the entertainment industry, only Chiao Kuexion would dare to say something like this in public. Chiao Kuexion continued and her eyes seemed slightly emotional. So I'm very grateful that there's an award like the Golden Orchid that isn't influenced by public opinion and external factors, giving me a chance to prove myself. At the same time, I also sincerely hope that everyone will take a look at this work from an objective perspective and see who I really am. When Chiao Kuexion said her piece, she received a burst of applause and approval. Han Xianyu also heaved a sigh of relief. Thankfully, Chiao Kuexion managed to be tactful with her words and even concluded it pretty well. Yi Wanwan knew that in her previous life, this speech actually pulled a terrifying amount of box office interest for Legend of the Quiet Girl and broke the box office record for that year. Next, Chiao Kuexion followed the norm and thanked her fans, crew, company, and sponsors. Finally, she paused. Her eyes glanced below the stage and said, "In addition, I would like to especially give thanks to a friend." Before coming up on stage, almost everyone around me was consoling me, telling me that it was fine that I didn't win, but there was only one person who told me from the start that I would definitely be the Golden Orchid's best actress. He let me know that among hundreds and thousands of people, there's at least one person who still believes in me. Having heard what Chiao Kuexion said, Chi Mei Lin almost couldn't maintain her composure in front of the camera anymore. Darn it! That swindler actually got it right. Doesn't matter who gets the Best Actress award, but it shouldn't be Chiao Kuexion. Very soon, the awards ceremony came to an end. Yi stood up and said to Chiao Kuexion naturally, "Kuexion, congratulations. You earned it." TSK, the people from Emperor Sky think I earned it? What hypocrites. Chiao Kuexion smiled. Why do I recall a certain someone from your company saying that I'm the One artist who will never receive an award? Chi Mei Lin was so angry that her overly done face was almost twisted. Chiao Kuexion, I suggest you keep that gloating face of yours. I'll watch how you're going to die getting roasted for winning the Golden Orchid Best Actress award with that lousy acting. Chiao Kuexion chuckled and mumbled, I'm afraid you'll die before I do. My highly skilled little fortune teller Ge, just read your fortune and once the awards ceremony ends, you'll meet a disastrous tragedy, ha. Chapter 554, Lost all standing and reputation. Chiao Kuexion blinked and held Yi Wanwan back by the wrist. Little Ge, am I right? Yi Wanwan didn't want to embarrass Chiao Kuexion in front of everyone, so she coughed lightly and replied, N. In her previous life, she read about the Golden Orchid Awards ceremony online and remembered very clearly that shortly after she was done reading, the website was updated with Chi Mei Lin's scandal about her organizing a sex party and even gathering people to take drugs together. With such a serious scandal, it completely crushed the inspirational and perfect goddess image Chi Mei Lin created for her fans. Overhearing the conversation between these two people, Chi Mei Lin gave a disdainful look and seemed completely fearless. Chiao Kuexion, you're really amazing, an old cow eating fresh grass, messing around with these young gigolos at your age. Even better, now you've been brainwashed, right? Tragedy. I really want to see what kind of tragedy I'll encounter. Even if she didn't get the Best Actress award, she was still influential. Furthermore, she had a big backing like Yi Group. Was there anything she couldn't handle? Gu Yuze straightened his lapels, stood up loftily and looked coldly in Yi Wanwan's direction. I won't burden this gentleman here with artists from my company. In retrospect, Yi Wanwan felt so foolish that she wanted to kill herself when she recalled the time she was so madly in love with Gu Yuze, but it was etched in her memory after all. Each time she saw Gu Yuze, the anger in her body was still uncontrollable. Faced with Gu Yuze's arrogant expression, Yi Wanwan smiled and said casually, Chairman Gu, you're too polite. It will never be my turn to be burdened with Chairman Gu around. Emperor Sky is such a big shot that it's fine even if you lose one or two artists. The way Yu Wanwan smiled was even more similar to her expression the day she ridiculed him, causing Gu Yuze's mood to darken further. He was about to speak but his phone started ringing with endless notifications, disrupting his train of thought. Gu Yuze suppressed the fury in his heart and opened those messages. In the end, he seemed to have read something on his phone as his face instantly changed like a storm was approaching. He shot daggers at Chi Mei Lin. "Yuze, what is it?" Yi asked worriedly. Chi Mei Lin probed carefully as well. "Chairman Gu, did something happen?" The way Gu Yuze glared at her with such iciness and gloominess gave her an inexplicable sense of unease. It couldn't be that, all those things were leaked, right? It can't be. I was so careful and secretive each time. However, in the next second, the furious Gu Yuze threw his phone directly at Chi Mei Lin's face. "Ah!" Chi Mei Lin cried out in pain, then picked the phone up, trembling. When she saw the first photo on the phone, Chi Mei Lin's face turned aghast. It was actually a disgusting photo of her with a bunch of guys. However, this was only the beginning. There were even clearer images taken of her abusing drugs. Chi Mei Lin's delicate face was completely pale. She panicked and her fingers started shaking. "Gu, Chairman Gu, please save me. Director Yi, save me." Almost at the same time Chi Mei Lin pleaded for help, alarmed gasps resounded around them. "Oh, damn. Quick, look. Big news. The person in the photo is, the goddess worshipped by many fans, Chi Mei Lin. Orgy party and taking drugs. This is explosive." You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.